And we are live. Good evening, folks. Mobile Geezer here with Will D. And this is our usual Friday night tech talk. We're hopeful that Mike will be joining us later. He's on vacation, right, Will?
Yeah, I think he's either on, he started, or he starts tomorrow, something like that. I know he's been running around a lot.
I guess what I should have said first as the host is say hello, Will.
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay. Anyway, so we've just got a few topics that we want to discuss. And since I'm running things, Mike is usually the one who puts the show notes together. I'm not great at that, but I just threw together what we're going to discuss. So I guess I should probably stick to what I sent you, right, Will?
Yeah, we do it however.
Okay, so let's start with the Honor 10. Now, what do you have anything specific about the Honor 10?
No, just go off what you got, George.
You're so fascinating. And helpful.
You know me. I never got an honor difference. So.
Okay, now I have an article here by The Verge. The Honor 10 is exactly the budget Huawei P20 Pro we were expecting, and that seems to be everybody is saying this is like a cut down version of the P20 Pro. So is that your feeling too?
Well, yeah, don't they always do it like that? Don't they always put out a flagship and then the next one?
What was the Honor 9 a copy? A cut down version of the P10? I didn't remember seeing that.
I think it was.
Okay, because I didn't. Of course, we don't have the P10 and 20 in the United States, and I didn't get any Honor phones yet.
Yeah, I think it was. Now they have a Pro, right? Honor 10 Pro.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. 650 unlock.
Right.
Yeah. Now that's like an extension of Huawei, right?
Yes. Honor 10 is a sub brand. Honor is a sub brand of Huawei. Yes.
Yeah. Are you in the market for that one or no?
Maybe down the road, but I'm looking at the article. We said 650. No, it says roughly $540 for the 128 gigs. So that doesn't sound bad for 128.
Yeah, that's well, 650. Well, I don't know. Considering what OnePlus just put out.
Yeah, and I think
that kind of messes up the market a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need to move on to OnePlus because, in my opinion, OnePlus has done it once again. They've come up with a phone. I think everybody, including me, was pleasantly surprised with the price. Yeah.
Yeah, they kept the price down. Yeah. But okay, that was something else I wanted to. Okay. Now with the price, we just skipped from this phone, but the price of the OnePlus, you don't think they're getting into a little bit of creepy territory? Because as you inch up, like we were saying a couple of weeks ago, as you inch up with the price,
right,
get to 600. I think the top model is what, 640?
Yeah, I'm looking at.
As you get to that price, you're at the flagship territory.
And it seems to me, okay, hey, I'm looking at the prices now. 6 gigabyte, and one thing I love is their base is 6 gigabytes, 530, 8 gigabytes, 580, 8 gigabytes with 256 gigs of RAM storage, 630. Now those prices seem fair to me for what you're getting.
No. I don't mean fair. I just mean when you get to that point, you're almost at a Samsung. You're not there yet at a Samsung at 719, but you're pretty close. And
I agree. I agree 100% because if they go any higher than this for the 64 gig one, then they are now up there with LG and who else?
They're up there with
HTC. They're up there with LG and HTC. So they couldn't sell themselves anymore as the flagship killer for a lesser price. This year they can, but I'm thinking they can't go up again, with, and still sell that idea. You agree?
Yeah, they really can't. Well, they can still say they're the flagship killer, but their price is a flagship price at that point.
Right.
My thing is like, even at the top of the line, right? Let's say you go to the top of the line one. I think it's 640, and you're getting 256 memory, right?
Right. It's
even if you go and 8 gigs of RAM.
It's 630 with 8 gigs of RAM and 256.
Okay. Even if you go up that high, all right, you're getting a lot of storage, which is good.
Right.
8 gigs of RAM is good, but today with Android, there's nothing that you're going to run on your phone that's going to use 8 gigs of RAM.
Well,
they're just doing that because the Chinese market, they like the big numbers.
And I agree with you. I find with all the phones I have right now, I've got 14. With all the phones I have, anything that has 4 gig, I think runs fine, and I don't get any stuttering. When I get down to 3, that's when the stuttering starts. So 6 gigs,
so
still overkill, but I'll take it.
6 gigs to me is good on like a Samsung because the skin is heavy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like a skin phone, but their phone is pretty light.
Yeah,
that's very light. So to me, when I hear 8 gigs of RAM, I'm like, yeah, it sounds nice, but forget that. I might as well have 6. So I don't consider that like a big deal. The memory is great, but okay, so let's say for me, I look at it like 6 gigs of RAM, even though it has 8. I'm getting a phone that's going to be like an S9. Right. It's going to be smoother, but it's going to be like an S9 with less features.
Right.
Doesn't have an IP rating, a real one. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
at least they made it splash proof this time.
It's kind of like the first Pixel. I think the first Pixel was splash proof.
I agree. Yeah.
So, and you don't have an SD card, which the 256 is great, but if I get a 64 gig S9, I can get. I think it supports up to like a 2 terabyte card whenever they start making those or something.
Yeah, it supports a card. I know that.
Me, I'm like, I don't know if I would still pick the OnePlus over an S9.
Well, I would.
I'm just saying.
Because at the base price, I'm still saving what, almost $300.
No, you're saving.
No, 200.
If you get if you get the top of the line,
I said
is
the base,
7.
The base. I'm comparing the base S9 with the base OnePlus.
Yeah, you're saving $200. Yeah.
So I would still get it for that reason, because I still think you're getting a really great flagship phone for a good price. But
do you think that a regular buyer, somebody who you show those 2 phones to, is gonna say, okay, I'll get this phone, being that they're not really gonna know the company? You know what I mean? If you give them a quick brief history, this company's from China, blah blah blah. Are you gonna buy that, or would they say, I'm gonna buy a standard Pixel 2 for $650?
If they
unlimited storage, George, with the unlimited storage of photos and videos.
But see, there you go again,
George. $650.
The average, but you said the average person. This is our same old argument. The average person doesn't care about that. They want
the average
to store some photos. They're going to hardly store any video.
No, that's not true, because the average person isn't even going to know what OnePlus is. But
that's true. I agree.
Now,
but I would tell them that's the better value.
The average person is going to store photos and videos, because that's the problem my iPhone was having. That's why Google was able to capitalize on it with the commercial showing, boom, storage full, because that was a problem for iPhone.
I just don't think the average person is taking photos and videos the way you and I are going to take photos and videos.
I just think that they're at a spot now where, not this year, if they come out with a 6T, they'll be still good with the price. Next year, they're going to be up there with the big boys.
That's why I agree with you. I think they have to stop here. I don't think they can go forward.
Yeah, but if they stop here, what are they going to do? They're not going to be able to add nothing else to the phone, because you're already, like you said, you're getting a great value for the price. There's no other phone where you're going to get all those, the nice stuff that you're getting.
Well, then they're going to have to do.
You know what, though, George?
Then they're going to have to come up with an expensive phone.
This might be controversial, but I look at it like this: what are we really getting from that phone? What makes that phone sound like such a great value? It's only the RAM.
No, it's not only the OnePlus has a reputation as a phone.
No. Look, when we say that phone is a great value, right?
Right.
Was it 64 gigs for, was it 540?
Let me go back.
Like,
so, yeah, 530.
What I'm saying is,
you keep upping everything by 10.
You're getting a good camera, and you're getting, the RAM. You're getting a good phone. But what I mean is,
a phone that charges probably faster than anybody else.
Yeah, the phone. That's okay. You're getting fast charging. But I'm saying, the thing that makes the phone sound makes people want it is the RAM. Like, and we know. No, listen, George, listen. Okay. We know the phone is good because we know stock Android is the best. That phone has a light skin. It's a developer phone. We know all that. But what I'm saying is, if you compare that phone to something else, you're not getting no extra features, bells and whistles, like my friend Kirk says. You're not getting a dual aperture. You're not getting wireless charging. You're not getting a real IP rating. You're not getting Samsung Pay.
But you're back to being a techie.
No, I'm not. I'm being a regular person because to me, that's the same argument as if I walk into Verizon and they show me a Pixel and then they show me an S9 with the fancy screen and the two cameras on the back, and they tell me, oh yeah, this one you can put it might not have as much memory on, you can put it on and you can take that card out and put it in your computer and watch a movie off of it, and you can delete it and do it again. Then you can use Samsung Pay at the store, and you got the quad HD screen. You know what I mean? To me, that's what they're going up against. They're going up against all that. And George, George,
sound like a salesman.
No wide angle camera. No, you know what I mean? Like,
that's
just
true.
we already know just about any phone out now is going to take good pictures.
That's
so
true.
The average person is
at least good daytime pictures.
Is not going to be able to differentiate between, oh, this one looks better. You know what I mean? This one looks so. It's like the thing that to me that's selling their phone is the specs, the spec sheet. Like when I hear a OnePlus phone, before when I wasn't really into OnePlus. Before I think I got a 3T.
Yeah, the 5T is my first.
When I got the 3T I think I got it from Swapper. The reason I was like, wow, this phone sounds great was the spec sheet. It wasn't nothing that the phone did that made me think like.
But you're making the same mistake. The average person doesn't care about the spec sheet.
Yeah. So what is selling the phone? What are you going to tell somebody?
What is selling the phone?
George, what are you going to tell somebody?
Is the price
the price
for a flagship phone? That's why I'm thinking if they go past this point next year, they're going to have to go the same way Google went with the Pixel. Here's our expensive phone, and you're going to have to put stuff on it to make it worth it. Yeah.
Once they add all that, they would jack it to 700. Yeah. See, what would you like? That's the thing. Like, okay, if I'm an average person and you're selling me on that phone,
right? That's me. Go ahead.
You're going to say the price, but when I hear all those specs versus, or you know what I mean? When I see the price and I see what that phone has versus all the features of even LG, wide angle camera, the quad DAC, the waterproofing, the military grade, blah, blah, blah.
I think you're slipping back into techie land.
No, I'm not. I'm George, you know, when you walk into T-Mobile, they're showing you phones that do crazy stuff. They're not showing you a regular phone. That's the problem with a Pixel. Because if I walk into Verizon, even though I know that the phone has an amazing camera and I'm getting my updates first and all that, the average person is going to look at it and say, well, this screen looks regular next to a Samsung screen.
Yeah, but the average person, but if you walk into my store and I'm a salesman, the very first thing I'm going to say is, this thing takes better pictures than any phone out there and has for 2 years. And that would be the truth.
That's what you would say. But for a OnePlus, all you can say about it is this phone is a good value. There's no standout feature.
No. All I can say is this phone is a great value, and it's almost as good as your $800 and $900 phones. And that's the truth, too.
That's true. Now, okay, Mr. Salesman George, when my phone breaks, who do I call?
I've never had to deal with. I've heard a lot of bad things about OnePlus customer support.
George, when I ordered my phone, it said it was coming from China. Is that safe?
But you know, when you order a OnePlus phone on the U.S. site, it's not coming from China.
Yes, George. No, it comes from China.
It initially came from China, but it's going to get. No. It's not going to take no 2 weeks to get to you. It's going to take 2 days.
Weeks, but I know when I ordered my phone, the first thing that popped up was somewhere in China. On the tracking, it showed China.
Oh, not me.
Maybe yours came from Texas. When I ordered my
I think it must be Texas.
Yeah. I got it like that. They had like an early release. Yeah. It came from China.
How long did it take to get to you?
Maybe like 3 or 4 days, something like that. Because I was like the right before the release, and you could see as it went through customs. And that was sometimes some people were saying theirs got held in customs.
Yeah, that is pretty fast to come from China.
Yeah, it was really fast.
Have stuff I order from China that takes 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But I still
now that's my problem too with the phone. I like the phone. I'm not going to get it.
Comments too.
I'm not going to get it, but I don't understand that. Why put a glass back and not put wireless charging? You're making it easier to break.
I agree 100%. I agree.
You made it easier to break, and it's not like you can go to Best Buy and they're going to fix your OnePlus.
Now, Jason Gill is saying the reason they got the phone, the RAM and Oxygen OS.
Yeah, that's what's selling the phone. Yeah, that's what's selling it for. But see, that's for us. I wouldn't be able to sell that phone to nobody that I know. You know what I mean? Like unless I had to sit down and tell them all about it and tell them why. And you know what I mean?
I would because my personal feeling, if it's not an iPhone, it's not a Pixel, and it's not an S9, it's the next best phone out there. In my opinion.
Most people I know want the bells and whistles. See, I'm like the only one that I know who cares about like stock. You know what I mean? Wants close to stock, doesn't want a whole bunch of junk. Everybody else I know, they're fine with
I don't know
stuff.
Let me answer. Don Brow is asking a question. My 13-year-old is going to school away from us and wants a good smartphone with a great battery, QHD screen, that's where he stuck me, and great sound. Now I had my suggestions until I saw a QHD screen.
That puts you in Samsung.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, are you getting the QHD screen with the J7 and that kind of stuff? I don't know.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, so you got to talk about Galaxy.
You're going to be at like an S8.
Yeah. Or what about S7?
I don't think that one is quad HD. I think that one's just HD.
Let me go see if I can look that up. Because I'm thinking, price-wise, if the S7 has a quad HD screen, that's probably the one to get. Let's see. Galaxy S7 specs. You can keep talking. Keep the people entertained.
Yeah, I don't. What did he give you?
This is the same kind of pressure Adam puts on Mike.
How much does he want to spend?
He didn't mention price, so I'm guessing. That's why I'm looking at the Galaxy S7 full phone specifications.
I think the 7 is just the regular HD. I don't think Samsung came with the quad HD until 8. I mean, the standard size is still a quad HD. It's a little cheaper.
Right.
It's just as good as the 9. Just the fingerprint location.
Yeah, Don. I guess I have to go with Will. I would say get the Galaxy S8.
Just the updates. I mean, it depends if he's. I think now pretty much all of them are on Oreo though.
I'm forgetting my specs. I'm thinking about the HTC U11 also. Let me see if I can just type it in this way. HTC U11.
Oh, okay. He said Don said the S7. It did have a quad HD.
Okay, then I would say get that one because you're going to get a great price at this point. And for a 13-year-old, I think The 13-year-old is going to be very happy with that.
They're even updating that to Oreo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're even putting Oreo on.
Now, Alan from Phone Tech is saying, Phone Tech at Work is saying the V20. Yeah, that's another great phone.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to get a better price than the S7 too.
Yeah, I think those were going for $2 something.
Yeah. So I'm thinking those are two good options.
Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't be more helpful, but thank God we have other listeners who were chiming in.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of flagships that are a little older. That
Matt said, "Please stop all the slamming on the counter." That must be you, right?
That must be for me.
Okay, I figured that'd be you. He gets excited, Matt. He can't help it. I'm glad I'm not there. He'd probably be slapping me.
Oh man!
All right, so are we done with the OnePlus 6?
Yeah, unless I know you're picking it up, aren't you?
No,
you're not.
No, because I have the 5T. Now, to me, I either get the OnePlus 6 now or wait for the 6T. I'm probably going to wait for the 6T, and I'll be getting some cheaper phones in the interim.
Yeah. So you think it's not worth it to go from a 5T to a 6?
The couple of articles I've already seen said that if you have the 5T, you're probably better off waiting until the 6T. I agree with that because it's a little bit better, spec bump, but I think you're better off waiting for the 6T because it's not going to be much of a price difference.
Yeah, the 6T, they'll probably bring a wireless charger with the 6T.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, why would you? I agree with you. Why would you have glass and all? Everybody's saying that. Why no wireless?
With the glass back. Maybe they just were going for the, trying to catch up with the premium feel. The new year, pretty much everything's glass.
Yeah, and I did see a couple of videos where they said it does make it feel more premium, so that makes some sense. Yeah, but I also think they're preparing for what's next, so that's why I think you may be right about the 6T.
Jason Gill said with the S7, you got to worry about getting a good battery.
Okay. He said it would be easier to
swap the battery
with the V20 battery. Yeah. So if I think I would go with the V20, you're going to get a better price, and you can swap the battery. So I'm thinking that's the way to go. Matt Joseph said he loves the V20. So I didn't have the V20. I have the V30. So.
The V20 had the second screen. Yeah, good camera. You still got the wide angle.
Yeah. Well, Anthony from my Project 13 was vlogging from his car again yesterday, and you could see all three. I think that is so awesome. Now with the V30, I can show you front and back, but I can't show you three at once. That is pretty impressive.
You can view the three cameras, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Which I think is pretty awesome.
I thought OnePlus was gonna put a wide angle. I thought that's what that second camera was gonna be, a wide angle.
I pretty much thought everybody was either gonna go wide angle or what's the one iPhone has?
Telephoto.
Telephoto.
Yeah.
But some people seem to like that black and white, second. So
I think they just went with just for portrait mode. That's what I was reading.
Is that only for portrait mode?
Portrait mode, yeah.
Okay. Because I know with my V30, which is what I'm reading the comments on, I love having the wide,
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Any preference of what's next, or should I just?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so back to ZTE once again. Now, I guess pretty much everybody knows that, I guess it was Sunday. Well, first of all, last week, ZTE kind of shut down their operations. I gather they didn't get rid of any employees, but they said employees were showing up and not having anything to do. And I don't think that's just in the United States. I think that was kind of everywhere. But Trump sent out a tweet. He decided to jump in. He talked to the Chinese president, and they decided, let's get ZTE back on their feet. And Trump even agreed that there are too many Chinese people were losing jobs. And ZTE is a big shot company in China. So with his help, you figured, okay, they're going to get back on track. Well, Congress jumped in today. Was it today? It was today.
Yeah,
right?
I think it was today. Yeah.
Yeah. And they are putting the brakes on this. Let me see if I can come up with that. One of the articles on that.
Do you think he just, you know what I mean? Do you think he knew that they were going to do that?
No, I don't. I think he thought they were just going to let it. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people in Congress on both sides of the aisle don't like him, and will do what they can to stop him.
Yeah.
So that's these people play politics with everything, including him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's an article: House committee rebukes Trump on ZTE. The House Appropriations Committee unanimously accepted an amendment to an appropriations bill on Thursday, so yesterday, that reinforces sanctions against Chinese telecommunications company ZTE, a rebuke to President Trump. It says the amendment would prevent the Commerce Department from renegotiations of the sanctions it just enacted. And that's exactly what Trump asked them to do. Was they had put in a kind of a ZTE had asked them to look at it again, and Trump had told them, okay, let's renegotiate it. Well, together this amendment,
they don't want to hear that.
Right. So it looks like their big problem is not going to be Trump; it's going to be Congress, and there's not a whole lot. I don't see where Trump can override that, but what do I know?
Yeah, they're back to where they were now a couple of weeks ago, back to square one.
That's pretty rough stuff. Now, I agree that, I'm of two minds with this. I know a number of the ZTE folks that work in the U.S., including the U.S. CEO, and I find them all to be really nice people that I like, who I've met more than once, been around more than once. But I think all of this was back in China. And even talking to the U.S. employees, I've always gotten the impression in the 2 years that I've known these ZTE people that from China, they just say, this is how it's going to be, and that's that. And that's what I think happened here. They did what they were going to do with Iran, and I don't think any of the American employees had anything to do with this, but they're part of the company, and there's not a thing they can do about it. So that's why I say I'm on two minds. On one hand, I know people personally who are nice people, but on the other hand, your bosses over in China screwed up. So
you met them going out to that event, right?
Yeah, I met them this year and last year.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it's a mess because it takes away, one of the companies that were put pressure on everybody else.
Yeah, and they were making really good, really cheap phones, and not many companies have been making good cheap phones.
Yeah, and they were even in AT&T, so
yeah,
they had some prepaid phones in AT&T,
and they were a big sponsor of the PGA Golf Tour, and they were sponsoring they had some sponsorship with Golden State, with Houston, with Cleveland, and two other NBA teams, and all of that's gone.
Yeah.
So all the good, what's the phrase I'm looking for? The good publicity they had built up. Well, that's all gone.
It's gone. Yeah, all the goodwill. Yeah.
And obviously Congress can't stand them, and they're going to stop them. So if this develops any further, it'll be interesting to see, because I don't see Trump going into some all-out fight with Congress over this. He's got enough to fight with them with already.
Yeah, it's already a mess. Yeah. Now, George, we didn't have it on our sheet. Did you see? I seen it. Thought it was interesting. The red phone, the red hydrogen one.
I saw you did something, and I didn't have time to look at it.
That's going to be in the stores. It said AT&T and I think Verizon picked that up.
When is it going to be in the stores?
I don't know, but it's going to get carrier support.
And what's it going to cost?
What I saw, I think it said like $1,200.
I thought it would be expensive.
Yeah, I can't believe they got that in the store.
This is the same company that makes the red camera, right?
Yeah.
The red camera, what is it? The base one is $50,000.
Yeah,
so I can see the phone being expensive.
Yeah, I just was shocked they got it in the store.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It got carrier support because even HTC, they make good phones, but they can't get back into the store.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the top article I found. I haven't even clicked on the article. The $1,200 Red Hydrogen One phone is coming to Verizon and AT&T. So
Jason Gill said a 4-year contract.
Yeah. So it looks like a strictly CDMA, wouldn't you think?
They said AT&T and Verizon.
Oh, and Verizon.
So I guess they're gonna have 2 models.
CDMA and GSM. That's right.
Yeah, that's
that's pretty surprising. So obviously, somebody knows how to make deals.
Yeah, I would want to see HTC get back into the store though.
Oh,
that was my first. That was my first Android phone on AT&T.
Yeah,
it's the HTC One M8 maybe or M7. I think it was the 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Alan says they're saying by the summer it'll be in the stores. So be interesting. I won't be buying it. I'll let you go. But you're the phone snob.
I'm not buying that thing. Nah, I'm not buying that.
Hey, you might get
is that their
MKBHD, you know?
Is that their first phone?
It's their very first phone, as far as I know. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, at least it'll keep the competition going. I don't know how good it's gonna sell. Maybe. Yeah, I think I seen in the comments somebody said Michael Fisher. I know he had a video on it. I can't remember how good he said the camera was.
And MKBHD did a video about it a long time ago.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah. So my guess is one of the first ones that's going to get one fully functioning in his hand with final software is probably going to be my MKBHD, you know.
Yeah, that price, can you imagine? That is the payments. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's like, they're going to have to charge like almost $50 a month.
Be offering payments on that phone. They may say, if you can afford this phone, you can afford to pay for it.
And they just buy it outright. Yeah.
It's interesting. Out of my price range. We should talk Mike into buying one. or Adam.
Yeah.
They'll both be killing now.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I can't remember what Marcus said the phone what software he had on it. I know it was an early, he had an early model, but I can't remember if he said it was pretty clean or if they had a lot of their own apps, for like the camera. I remember he was saying something about the camera. I can't remember.
I'm trying to look at I'm looking at the article now. And the top of the article, it says, take a look at the phones that aren't being sold at AT&T stores. Google Pixel 2, Essential Phone, G7, HTC 11, One. Yeah, so that even says more. Somebody knows how to make deals.
That's why I was so shocked. I'm like, HTC can't get into the store. I didn't even consider the Pixel because I know they have like their Verizon exclusive, which I really hope this year they come out and say, okay, now we're going to be in. I hope that's their big announcement, even if they don't do like too much with the phones, if they don't come out with 3 phones or whatever. If they do, I hope they come out and say, okay, now we're going to be in all the stores, kind of like Apple did, because that would give them a big boost if the phone is out there. If the phone is out there in a lot of different places.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the camera. In case you don't know, the Red Hydrogen One phone is a wild concept from Red. Okay, camera. Okay, I thought I had gotten to the camera, but not. Among the features being promised, a holographic display. So you'll be able to switch between 2D, 3D, and 4-view content without the use of, I don't know what 4-view content is, do you?
No.
Okay.
I know, I was reading that same article though.
Okay, spatial sound, modular add-on. So I guess kind of like Essential in that regard.
I believe their cameras like that. You can add stuff to the camera, so I think that's what they're going for.
Well, as one of the richest camera companies, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jason in the chat said the base model is $1,200. That's the full plus version is $2,000.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like their cameras, like.
That's crazy.
MKBHD uses their camera. Well, a base model I think was $58,000. His version is over $100,000. That's
crazy. That thing better have the best camera that you can put on a smartphone.
Well, you would hope. I mean, that's what they do. Cameras.
You'd be surprised though.
it wouldn't shock me if it came out and it had a camera that just blew anything we've ever seen away. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, at least then you could say, okay, that's what it came with. If it comes out and the camera's just okay,
yeah,
that's a disappointment. Even if they don't sell
if it comes out and the camera's just okay, that tells you they're making this for people with big bucks and nobody else.
Yeah, people who just want to try the camera.
Exactly. The same people who buy diamond iPhones and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Now, next thing I ran across this story. I guess it was today or yesterday, about Google employees quitting Google over a drone program that Google is working with the Pentagon to develop. It's called the Maven program. And Google's motto is "Don't be evil." Well, these 12 employees are saying, well, you're breaking that model by working with the Pentagon on a drone. And what do you think? Do you agree with that? I don't think I agree with that.
See, I'm not too well versed on the story. I thought they were quitting because of the duplex thing. I thought I saw an article about that. This from us talking tonight, you kind of got me up to speed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first article I found. Google employee protest. Now Googlers are quitting over Pentagon drone project Maven.
Yeah.
So it seems like the Google employee. Oh, I went to a YouTube video. I didn't mean to do that. It seems like the employees are quitting over the fact that if you're working with the military, you're being evil. Now, I don't see that. I mean, if you're working with the military, if you're not actively going out and trying to make something that's going to kill everybody, and you're just trying to make something that's going to help defend your country or your soldiers, I don't see that as evil. Do you?
Yeah, that's not evil, no. Yeah. Because they didn't say the drone is going to be dropping bombs. You know what I mean, right?
I think it's basically an information gathering drone to come back and let the military know what it sees.
What they're doing. So I mean, that's really not.
Yeah, so it seems like these employees are taking the attitude: if you're working with the military, you're doing something evil.
Unless there's something else to it that they know that we don't know. But
exactly,
just
could easily be.
Off the article, no, it don't sound like nothing worth quitting over, unless it's I guess they really standing strong on their I guess they take Google's motto more serious than Google does if they're saying they're being evil. Unless maybe they really know something.
Or if Google now this is just me, and I am a Google fanboy, I admit that. I always see Google as a pretty basically nice, positive company. Yeah, they're going to make all the money they can make, which they should. But I see Google as a basically good moral company. But of course, everybody's probably going to have some employees who kind of go overboard with it and think, well, if you don't meet my moral standard, then you're evil. I'm kind of getting that feeling, because we're talking about only 12 employees out of thousands of employees.
Yeah.
So
they must be either really deep into whatever personal thing they got against.
Yeah, it's the military. So and I can understand where some people. Heck, I was a hippie in the '60s, so I can somewhat understand that.
George, we got Matt Josephson. He said, "What about Verizon adding more junk apps?" I think I forget what it's called. We talked about it last week a little bit. They're putting that thing on the phones that's gonna automatically install. I forget. There's like 3 or 4 apps. I think as soon as you put the SIM card, basically.
See, I've never had Verizon, so.
Yeah, they even do that with the Pixel, but you can take the apps off.
Right.
I don't know how it's going to be with their branded phones. Like if you get a Galaxy from Verizon, I don't know if you're going to be able to remove them. But I know as soon as you put your SIM card in, it gives you I think it's the Verizon Bill Pay app, the Verizon message. Like it starts downloading them as soon as you put it in.
Yeah,
it's kind of annoying.
And to be fair to Matt, he also did make a comment about that Congress was unfair to the Chinese phone makers, and I guess I kind of agree with that. Now ZTE, but both ZTE and Huawei admitted to business with Iran.
Did Huawei do something? I didn't think Huawei did.
Huawei admitted that they did some business with Iran too, but my impression is they didn't go as bad as whatever ZTE in China did. But at the same time, the reason ZTE got slapped with the ban was because they got caught. They had to pay 1.1 billion penalty, which they did. They had to fire 4 big shots, which they did, and they were supposed to reprimand 35 other employees and not give them bonuses. Well, they went the opposite way on that, and that's when they got nailed. So I know since Huawei hasn't done that type of thing yet, even though the military is, recommending against them, they haven't been banned with anything. So that to me is the only difference I can find.
I'm wondering if Verizon is doing this, because I know that thing is once you put your card in, I wonder if they're doing that kind of bloat because they're getting pushback from the carriers. I mean, from the phone makers, you know what I mean? Like Samsung or LG, they might be saying, we don't want your bloat on our phone. And they're like, yeah, you don't have to install it out the box. But as soon as you put your SIM card in, there's nothing that you can, you know what I mean? There's nothing.
They're just getting around them that way.
Yeah, there's nothing LG can do about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would kind of make some sense. And
because AT&T, I think, does it. I don't know if AT&T does it too, or if they have something that's kind of similar. Where
I've never had Verizon
stuff.
Isn't Verizon notorious for being the one that puts the most bloatware on their phones for a long time?
I don't know if they. I used to think AT&T did. I know my AT&T phones are terrible, and even on a Galaxy, they have things where
as far as bloatware,
if you don't read every little line in the setup, you know how you have your Google setup and then your Samsung setup.
Right.
There's an AT&T section, and if you don't read every little box when you check it, there's a thing that comes on there that'll keep installing these games.
Oh, really?
And AT&T
even today.
Yeah, AT&T wants to choose apps for you out of the App Store. I think they have some kind of and every week it'll send you a link and be trying to make you. It's crazy.
Yeah. See, the last time I had AT&T was probably in 1999. So. I don't even remember.
Yeah, AT&T. When I had the note on AT&T, I remember the first time I set it up. I was, I clicked no for most of the AT&T stuff, and I guess one of the small boxes was, how they do it, where it'll say, click here if you want no, but if you don't click there. So I'm thinking I didn't accept it, and when I went to the phone, it would, after 2 days, it would have these little games popping up at the top, and I was like, what is this? And it would be in the notification shade. They would just keep popping up. So it took me a while to figure out what it was, and I had to go back and disable it.
Pops up in the notifications like that, and it's hard to get rid of. Oh, and right after Matt posted about that Verizon junk apps, Jason Gill right away said Sprint does. So I guess Sprint does too. I haven't been with Sprint in 3 years.
Yeah, I see Sprint. Sprint just made the thing like T-Mobile. 55 and above, they're given some kind of discount. I think they put their price in line with T-Mobile's as far as the data. I guess they said, there was an article said they're banking that, I guess if you're 55 and above, you don't do a lot of streaming, internet. So they kind of knocked the price down to get in line with T-Mobile's.
I guess I would burst their bubble being 70 and above.
Nah, but I guess if you're on using a lot of data, they probably would kick you off. You don't qualify.
Because today was a work day for me, right? I'm carrying the V30 and the S9. Well, I hammer these phones to death. When I got home, my S9 was down to about 18%, and my V30 was down to about 30%. So I use lots of data and do lots of streaming. Heck, I'll be sitting waiting to pick up people in the car, and I'll be watching YouTube TV.
Yeah, He said, Phone Tech at Work said, it's 2 for $70. That's their plan. I think it's 2 for $70, maybe with unlimited.
Okay.
You know.
See, our plan is, I've got 4 lines for 140, so I'm very happy with it. So I'll just stick with what I've got.
Yeah, I know AT&T. They not coming with no kind of deal like that. I don't think. Well, I got too many lines anyway.
Now, see, I felt for years that Verizon and AT&T were the greediest. Am I wrong?
I think they're the most expensive. I think, as far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Verizon, I guess they figure with their coverage area or whatever, everybody says they got the best coverage. I guess they figure we don't got to lower our prices.
Well, that's true. And they do have the best coverage. I mean, everybody has to admit that. Yeah. Oh, Adam's in here. Hey, Adam.
Yeah, he stopped in and said to say hello. He's busy packing.
Cool. So they're just leaving you and I, and they're just taking off. The Pixel brothers are on the road.
Yeah, that's what's up. We got our weather hasn't been that good here though. It's been raining just about all week, just about every day. Today we didn't get to. I don't think we got any today, but just about every day it's been like nice early and then rain. So
we've been getting it's a summer pattern. We got that today and yesterday and the day before. Matter of fact, did you see the post I did of the latest outrageous red shoes that I got the other day?
Yeah, I did see.
Well, I haven't worn them yet because they're suede. My wife said the next day, "You're going to wear your new shoe." I'm not wearing these shoes in the rain. You forget. So I haven't get them warm yet.
Oh man.
What killed me?
Yeah, I saw that.
My wife gets on me about all these outrageous colored shoes that I buy. Who finds those shoes and points them out? She did, just like she did with this pair.
I was wondering when I saw them. I said, George just finds everything.
Yeah, we'll be walking through a store, and she said, "Ooh, look at these. You don't have these." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And I'm at the point of saying, I don't have any room in the closet for anymore. Well, you need to get them anyway. So I got them,
You got stuff to match it already, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I see them, I said, I know George got a hat to go with that.
No, I haven't got I finally got my blue cowboy hat. I told her last week, I said, I need to start looking for a red cowboy hat because I don't have one.
Then you got to premiere it on your channel.
Well, you'll see it probably in here. This is the first time I wore this hat. This is one of my fancy hats, and I don't wear it very often. And I just said, well, let them see something different for a change. I'm looking back in our stream discussion. Oh, Fuchsia. We need to move on to Google and Fuchsia. And I think you can talk about that a little bit better than I can. First, explain to people what Fuchsia is and what they're trying to do with it.
I think it's Google is working on, from what I understand, like a separate operating system. I was watching a YouTube video earlier today, actually. One of the people brought up, he thinks that maybe Google's plan with all the fragmentation in Android right now is he didn't really come up with a date, but maybe let's say 5 years down the road, they're gonna leave Android like it is now, basically to the OEMs, and go to Fuchsia and have it kind of be for the Pixel, or you know what I mean? Like they're gonna break off and make that their own, and they're not gonna give that to OEMs. Like that's not gonna be open source. They're gonna kind of lock it down like iOS. So I was just wondering, George, do you think that
you're saying the other big guys like Samsung and LG and HTC, they'll have Android, but only the Pixel will have Fuchsia?
Yeah, like the Pixel going forward, Pixel will have Fuchsia. Let's say the Chromebook or whatever, maybe they'll change the name of it. That'll run on Fuchsia. Android will just be,
the article I saw said the basic idea is to make Chrome and Android one, just like Apple kind of does with iOS.
Yeah.
And that would make perfect sense to me. Yeah.
That'll solve a lot of problems.
Well, it'll solve a lot of problems for Google, but if they leave the others on Android, they're still going to have the same fragmentation, wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah, but they would, yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, for Google, I think they would be happier because you see how they've done it in the last, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years. They've been focused on, instead of like major overhauls with the updates, they've been more focused on updating the apps because they knew like if you have whatever phone, right? They know if you have Gmail, they can make a big change on Gmail and everybody will get it instead of worrying about, trying to make everybody else keep up with,
and that makes
8.0 or
now. A thought just occurred to me. If they do that with Fuchsia, let's say Samsung, as big as they are, I think that might push them towards getting rid of Android and just going.
Well, the thing I was listening to, the guy said, and I remember it kind of, but not really. I guess I didn't used to like really read the news too much. Samsung, they said like maybe 5 years ago, Samsung, I guess, threatened to bring Tizen. Like they were gonna. Exactly. So maybe that's why Google's like, we need to, you know what I mean? Because if a Samsung leaves, if Samsung leaves, that's a big, that's a big portion of the sales that Android gets.
Or smartphone seller.
Yeah. So I mean, if Google does it, I think it'll be good because then it'll be kind of like I was saying last week, where if you buy a Pixel, you can only get this phone with whatever's on Fuchsia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that
the Pixel will have its own things that make it special. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be good, and then it'll stop the fragmentation. I mean, people could still buy a Samsung phone, and I don't know. I guess Google will separate the development into 2 separate sides, and the fragmentation wouldn't. I guess it wouldn't have to bother them as much because you see now they're still trying to fix it with Project Treble.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. They were going to shame the big OEMs and put out.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Who's the slowest, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So. I mean, if they do it, it'll be good. I wish they could do it sooner than later. But and even I think the videos, if you ever see like the videos with the showing the UI of Fuchsia, it's gesture controls.
Yeah, I read a couple of articles about that, but I didn't get to a video because I was working all day.
So yeah, it was gesture controls. So hopefully,
checking it out. Well, that kind of makes sense considering what Google I/O just came out with the gestures.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe, and I think they want to put I don't know if they were saying, they want to like merge, like sounds like they want to make Chrome and
they want to make Chrome and Android merge into one, yes, and which would make perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and put on a Chrome OS on a phone, exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought you had one other thing here that I hadn't seen. Oh, you said something. Do smartphone manufacturers need to adjust how often they release devices due to the earplugs? I didn't quite understand what you meant by that.
Let me see what my question was.
I think I remember.
Oh, yeah. What I was saying was like, okay, like because with the prices of the phones. Do you think, and pretty much, I think just about everybody, the sales have been down. You know what I mean? I don't think nobody's had.
Well, a lot of people think it's kind of plateaued.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Do you think instead of every year, like let's say Samsung,
right?
Like me personally, I think Samsung, what they should do is release the S8 or whatever, S9, S9 Plus, and the new. Release them all at the same time. But anyway. Do you think that they should go to a 2-year cycle on releases instead of going every year? Because all that's doing, just like when we were recommending to the guy, like I think it was Jason who wanted a phone.
No, it was Don.
Okay, Don. We were recommending to him get like, a phone from a company. The phones are so high and they're not changing that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like people would rather go to Swappa, go to Amazon. So new phone sales are going down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, when you say people would rather go to Swappa, now I know I'm right back to the because I can tell you in the last 2 years, every time I've even mentioned Swapper to anybody who's not a techie, they had no clue what I was. They had never heard of Swapper, and I'm thinking Swapper is strictly a techie thing.
I don't know. I mean, it might be, but even not Swapper. Let's say, like I guess Swapper's the big one.
Yeah.
Even if you say Amazon, Swapper's the big one because you're getting secondhand.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just think knows absolutely nothing about this stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's why the sales are flat.
You just think it's because they're not innovating no more because nothing.
I think it's probably making $915,000 phones. That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
And the fact that Huawei, ZTE, even Sony to some degree, they're making phones that cost a lot less than all of us the last 2 years. Good phones, and they keep getting better. And that's pushing people away from $1,000 phones, no matter how big Apple and Samsung are. That's my guess.
Okay, but see, to me, like, all right, the people that I know, I don't know. I think I know one person who has a phone that's not a named phone. You know what I mean? Because they still buy the phones at the carrier, so they're only paying.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like Sony. I don't know anybody with a Sony phone. I don't know any. I know one person outside
me and the people I follow on YouTube.
Phone. Yeah. I just think that they should go to a 2-year cycle because the sales have been going down. I mean, they're still selling, and I guess the way they're raising the prices, you know what I mean? For them, it's not as bad as it looks. The number might not be as big, but with the price being so high, they're still making their money. But
you don't think part of it is Huawei and Xiaomi making such good phones for like $200 to $300?
No, because I don't. Because who's buying them? Like I mean, I guess people are buying them, but I don't see them out.
When people ask me, and I always get the same kind of questions from people. When people ask me, is there a good phone you can buy that doesn't cost, $800, $900, $700? I'm saying, well, if you want to get like a $200, $300 phone, the Xiaomi Mi A1 is a really good phone. The Huawei Mate SE is a really good phone, and I think for those people, that's perfectly satisfactory, and they just saved themselves $500 to $600.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know what you're saying. See, I don't know. I know most people still will just go to the carrier, even if I try to tell them.
Yeah,
you can buy this or buy a OnePlus. They'll still go to the carrier because it's easier. They're paying monthly payments, and they still end up with a Samsung. So I guess, I mean, if you look at it that way, even though sales are down, I guess they're still selling enough phones through the carrier.
Yeah, that's true. But I think if like people you talk to, people I talk to, when they talk to people like you and me who have some knowledge of phones, well, I've had 3 or 4 people of people I know buy phones specifically because of what I told them about the phone.
And then they realize this is a better. Yeah, like I've steered a couple people to Motorola.
Yeah.
What was that one? The E4 that was like
the E4
on Black Friday.
His wife loved that phone.
Yeah. I mean, I seen what was it, LG, the G7? I think in Canada they're giving away a TV with the phone.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, but the phone costs a lot too.
I know.
They're giving away a 40-inch TV, but what I heard is, it's not going to show up right away. So my guess is you have to wait a few months. But still, getting a 40-inch TV is nothing to sneeze at.
Even when I bought my I don't know which one it was. I think it was my S8 or S7. From AT&T, it took like 6 weeks.
That's right. You mentioned that once before.
Yeah. And they already dropped the price of the G7. I think originally it was 9 something.
Did they drop it already?
It's on B&H for $7. I think $729 or $749.
Well, that is quick. What's that? That's 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks.
Yeah. That doesn't show too much confidence in their pricing. If they would come out and make it lower.
Kirk Fontaine says in the comments, "Yes, I'm the one that never heard of Swapper. Will help me sell phones." And
I helped him sell a couple phones. Yeah.
Hey, you're the deal maker, man. You are the deal maker. Yeah. I think Mike and I need you as an agent to buy phones for us.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I still hear you, George.
Just like you went away on me.
Matt said he's got to go watch Live PD. I don't know what that is. That's a show, I guess. He's got to watch TV. But yeah, I don't know. I just think they should go with a different schedule. Even Samsung. To me, Samsung drives me crazy because they put out the let's say the S9, S9 Plus in March?
Yeah,
March. So the Note 9 is coming, and it's like.
And 5 to 6 months later, the note is coming.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you just put everything out at the same time, and you know what I mean, and then wait a full year. Of
the two things you said, I can see that more than the 2 years. To me, putting them out at the same time might make some sense. I gotta believe they must make more money this way, though. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to keep doing it all these years. But I think as soon as you said 2 years, I'm thinking there'd be a revolt because people are too used to having the 1 year thing and they want to see it. You don't think so?
You think? I mean, all right. Like,
I mean, even everyday people are used to seeing a new phone every year. You know.
Yeah, but okay, like I don't know. I see people now, not so much a couple years ago, not like 5 years ago. Right. Now I see people who hold on to their phones a lot longer.
And you hear that all over the place. That's true.
Because look at Apple.
Out. Yeah.
You see how Apple, when they tried to do that battery thing,
right?
They kind of were not forcing, but people who didn't know better, they would just upgrade instead of once you put a new battery in it, it's like you have a new phone again.
Right. Exactly.
So I could see like, and even Samsung, I'm surprised. Because they updated the S7 to Oreo.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
But wasn't that part of the 2 year promise? I think.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So like, it's like if the S7 is still working good, and not everybody says, but the S7 had a good camera.
Yeah.
The S8 camera was good, but I don't know how much better it was than the S7.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I never heard anything but great things about the S7 camera.
Yeah. So. It's like your phone is going to last you just as long. You were getting Samsung Pay. You were getting waterproof. You were getting wireless charging.
I think part of that is you have an S7, you have an iPhone 6, and they'll last, and they're still good phones. And now you're charging $900, $1,500, $1,000. Well, I'll hang on to this good phone right now. Part of it is.
I wish they would say, okay, we're going to go to a 2 year upgrade cycle, because see, even LG said it and they didn't stick to their word. They said, we're not just going to release a phone just because it's time. And then they come out with the G7.
But they seem like they did exactly what they did last year.
When they said that, I said, ooh, that's good. Why wouldn't you focus on supporting what you already have out?
Yeah. And they emphasized it too.
I seen Easy Computer Solutions put out a video talking about the G6, and he's like, he basically not trashed the phone. He said in the beginning the phone was great. He said, but now I don't know how long it's been, but he said the phone hasn't gotten updates. They haven't put nothing. You know what I mean? Like he was like, I can't even recommend somebody to buy the phone now.
Yeah.
Or just like I seen on Google Plus somebody had a S9. It was unlocked, but it was an S9 still on the February security patch.
Right.
Like support what you put out for 2 years to make people want to come back. That's like I think we talked about it last week. That's like Apple. The reason that people come back, everybody loves, most people who are on an iPhone, they want iMessage, they want FaceTime, whatever. But if Apple is going to give you, if you have a 5S, 6 years of support, it'll be this year. When you go back, when your phone finally dies, when you go back to buy another phone, you're going to want to go where you had a good experience at, not where you had your phone for a year and a half and only got, you know what I mean? Most people don't care about updates, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's when you mentioned that the G6 wasn't getting the updates. Well, hey, Mike's here.
What's up, Mike?
Hey guys, coming to you live from my bedroom as I pack.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
So we'll title this
Simply your device.
Simply Device, live right here with you guys. How you doing? Calling you from on my Nexus 5.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
Talk about hanging on to phones.
That's
See?
right. Still cooking.
Oh, and Will, you just made me look at my S9. I'm on the February 1st security.
See? That's ridiculous, man.
And my V30 is on the January 1st.
See, that's what I'm saying. People want to go back to where they had a good experience at. So, like, I think I told you, the guy at my job has a 5S. Like,
Right.
if I'm going to upgrade my phone, I'm not going to go somewhere where they're not going to support. You know what I mean? Where,
But
we like
you
to spend,
said a few minutes ago,
money.
I don't think the average person cares about updates. My wife is leery of updates because of what happened to her Pixel last year.
That's true. That's true.
But
I mean, it's,
let me just jump in.
Yeah.
I saw Easy Computer Solutions video, and yes, George, people don't care. But on the other hand, what's right is right. These phones shouldn't be running on 6-month-old patches or
True.
a year. So there's both sides of the coin here.
Yeah.
You know, the big, and it burns me. And when I saw Easy's video, boy, that spoke to me because my unlocked L is still security patch and went through almost a whole year before getting a security patch, and
Right, I
still,
remember. Yeah.
So yes, people don't care, but yet though too, the phone manufacturer should be taking care of the people. There's nasty stuff out there, you know what I mean? And there's stuff out there that it's supposed to be taken care of. That's all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is, and that's what I'm saying. I would rather them go to a 2-year cycle and focus on updating the phone, doing the security patches.
Yeah,
or
but now I'm unclear. What
bug fixes.
What would going to a 2-year cycle do for security updates? I mean, I don't see
Well,
that
not
being related.
2-year. My fault. Not is it 2-year? Yeah. Well, even if they do 2 years. Look, if they.
But I mean, how are they related? Is what I'm saying.
Because, okay, like Samsung. Look how Samsung does it. If you buy a S9 this year, your phone isn't going to see the next update until they already pushed out the S10. They already, you know what I mean, got people buying the S10. That's the time when they're going to release the new update because they want to sell you the next phone. If they said,
true.
all right, we put out the S9 in March, we're not going to release our next phone, you know what I mean, for a year and a half, 2 years. We're going to focus on fixing bugs on this phone, putting out security patches, working on the Android updates. You know what I mean? Like, give the phone.
So that is your justification for that kind of time, because they can concentrate on the one thing.
Yeah, fix the problems that you got and stop trying to get me to buy a new phone and still forget the other one, because
that's a hard sell to
the company
to the company that sells more phones than anybody in the world.
Yeah, because I know, but that's the problem. But you see, the S9 sold good by for us, but it's not.
No, it's not selling as well as they thought it was.
To Samsung standards.
Yeah, exactly.
So at some point, they got to realize that people are going to get tired of spending $900. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's why I have, people that just know that I'm a YouTuber ask me about cheaper phones, and that's how they start learning about Huawei and Xiaomi, And Mike, are you hearing us okay, Mike?
He's running around.
Okay.
I see his.
I'm putting socks in now.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you can jump in whenever you want to jump in.
Oh no, that's what got me going. I just got around. I broke open the bag. I got you. I don't know if you can see.
Hey, when TV starts now, I can see us on TV.
Yeah, I got you on the big screen. I know it's a bit of a delay, but I'm like, oh no, I got to come up with something. So I got my Joby Pod, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I broke out the Nexus 5 because I was about to lend it to somebody, and I said, let me put it through his paces today. Okay. So trust me, I'll be jumping in. So you go, you You go.
That says a lot for you, though, Mike. The fact that just because you're going to lend the phone to somebody, you're going to make sure you check it out. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and well, I switched up. I gave him actually my son's, but the friend I was talking to about last week, I actually gave him for now the Moto X second edition because this one's too precious to me. I love this phone. This is still very
You're
dear.
like Anthony with his 6X.
Yeah, this Nexus 5 is what started it all for me. This phone started my journey.
Okay.
So I broke out my son's old phone and I checked it out and I did a factory reset and it seems to be running pretty good. It's something I'll buy for now. I'm still on the fence on what the phone to get for him, and finances is a big thing. Money also talks.
I remember you talked about that. Yeah.
You know, for him and for me, because I'm probably the one to help him out to let up front the money, and I'm gonna help him out. He'll pay me when he can.
Well, you keep educating Adam. He'll have two people to advise him.
Yeah.
Oh, and now I decided, Mike, that you're a bad influence.
Why is that?
Because this is the first week that Will hasn't ranted. You weren't here.
Nothing to rant about this week, George.
I guess I don't inspire him enough.
Nah, we're having a good conversation. But
No, because you guys, what really motivated me to pick up the get on here was your conversation about the LG and the type of phones out there, and I have to say. A few little things, nothing major, nothing big has gone on with some of my phones, and that Kool-Aid that Will is drinking's got me thinking. That apple juice. You know what I'm saying?
Apple, good. I like it. Hey, that's right up my alley.
So it's got me thinking, and I'm conniving in my head. What's my next move? What is my next device that's going to be in my roundhouse? And yeah, it could be something that has a little bit of a tardy flavor to it, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So I'm just checking out I got the Pixel reading the comments. My Project 13's in here. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Anthony.
Yeah. We got. Let's see. Mark's in here. Mark and Caitlin in here. What's I'm trying to keep up.
Mark said, pack your skivvies. Okay.
We got Kirk. We got Phone Tech at Work.
Yeah.
Al's been here a long time. Matt Josephson been here a long time.
I want just real quick. My Project 13 saying it might be selling the ZTE Axon 7.
He said that. He said that in the video the other day.
He's got 3 phones there, Mike. Maybe check them out. See what kind of deal you got for your friend. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with you, but man, that Axon, that was a hard give. That was hard for me to give up. I say, Anthony, man, that phone will be that could have been part of my collection, like this Nexus 5, which is never going to get sold. This thing can die. This thing's going to die. Oh, and I got my Nexus 7 tablet. I don't know if you can see it to this day. I will never get rid of these two devices. And that Axon 7 was killer.
I still have mine.
Yeah, I only did it to free up money to get other devices. It was a hard decision. Just like the S7 Edge that I just did.
Well, this is what Anthony was talking about in his video when he mentioned the Axon 7. He said it would be a hard decision.
Yeah. So the Moto Z2 he's thinking of selling, and it's time to
S9 Plus.
Yeah, but Anthony, think about it, man. Some of these are classic. Like I always call these classic cars. You know what I mean?
Axon 7 certainly is.
Yeah, it's right up there. It's right at like these old Nexuses. I'll pull them out. I drive them around the block a few days. I'll put them back. You know what I mean? So. Why
do you think I'm using the V30 right now?
Right. Are you using it right now?
Yeah, I have it. That's what I'm reading the comments on. I've been using it for 2 days now.
Okay.
And you know what I missed? Of course, Anthony will understand this because he could see all 3 cameras in the video he did the other day. Yeah. I missed the split screen cameras on the V30 because I can do front and back, not like the V20 can. but I missed
Right.
it. I pulled it out. You know.
I want to also let the people know, if you see Michael Dixon with a different face, that's me. I'm using my personal account to answer people. So
Okay.
that's yeah. I got three accounts. What's up?
You're talking about my Kool-Aid I'm drinking, right? Now,
What's up?
now, what happened? What happened that made you get interested in apple juice?
Apple juice? What are you drinking? Are you drinking some apple juice right now?
Nah, this is iced tea. But I want to know what changed what's changing your tune?
What got you thinking iOS?
What's going on?
Well, you know, it's interesting about what we talk about security and what we talk about how Apple supports their devices.
Yes.
And it speaks volumes how the 5S to this day is going to get should get the next update.
It's pretty much confirmed. They said, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, how old is that phone now?
That'll be 6 years of support because it'll get all the 12s. It'll get 12. You know, all the updates.
Now here's the Nexus 5. Okay. When did the 5S come out? What year?
It was 2013, I think.
Okay. Now I'm on a Nexus 5 that came out in 2014, I believe. And anybody in the comments could confirm or let me know if I'm wrong. Now here's a phone that is never going to see an update ever, unless there's like a major. And there's been major. I'm taking a chance now having it on there because there's a few. One comes to mind, like a Kraken, virus or malware that was in there. Right? You know.
So and Anthony is saying Nexus 6P, Razor, and V20 staying for sure. So those are the four he's not letting go of.
Yeah. And I'll give a nod on the V20, even though V20 is poorly supported. I really grown to really like that phone a lot.
And I still have my 6P.
Paul Tech, I like that. I'm here
for the giveaway.
Now Paul realizes, I'm sure he doesn't want to hold his breath on that, right?
Yeah, really. So I mean, I faltered the stern belief
up a little bit
that I need to understand both. I mean, the only two platforms we have out there. I never really gave it a fair shake.
And that's what people told you too. You never gave it a fair shake.
Right, and I'll stand here and tell you I didn't. And
as opposed to me, who gave it 6 months before I sold mine.
Right. I mean, and basically what it came down to is the usability of the phone. I thought I could live on that phone or try to understand it and try to appreciate what you can do with it, but it was just too small, and I just various other things. But the biggest thing is the big one was I had too many carriers. I had I was paying T-Mobile, then I would be paying AT&T, and then I got Sprint. As soon as I'm done with my obligation with Sprint, I'm going to move over to T-Mobile. So at least I have one bill, one phone. All the phones work on one carrier, kind of thing. So
that's why I stay with T-Mobile all the time.
I might.
Yeah. So what's up?
Right. Were you here? Okay, you're talking about the updates and all that. Were you here you didn't hear the fuchsia debate? This was my thing that I was asking George. I was listening to a YouTube video, watching a YouTube video. One of the guys brought up, he thinks that what Google is going to do is, there was no time frame, but let's say 5 years, 4 years, whatever. Google's going to just say, okay, Android as we know it now, y'all can have it. I'm giving it to Samsung, giving it to LG. It'll keep it open source. But they're going to put Fuchsia just on the Pixel so that they have their own operating system, and they're going to try to become more like Apple, where it's more restrictive, but they have complete control over the updates. So you're not behind on updates. You're not behind on security.
And it would be Android and Chrome combined.
Yeah, like Mac OS and iOS, because at this point they're like giving up. They can't really control Samsung.
They can't force people to do what they thought they could.
Yeah, they can't get it under control at this point, which is why they're focusing on let's worry about updating the apps that we know everybody's using instead of making big operating system updates. And it seems like they kind of went off on their own with Fuchsia, because even if you look at Fuchsia, the control is gesture based, like P. So it's like that's kind of, you know what I mean? That's what he was saying. That's what he thinks they're going to do, because as much as everybody quote unquote hates Apple and hates iOS, that's why it's so good, because they don't have everybody else involved in their, you know what I mean, in their operating system or making.
There's no reason to hate somebody else.
So what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that sounds cool?
I think might be contributing to Google thinking that way is how fast Android Google Assistant is spreading. It's becoming, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and spreading more and more. And it would make sense to do something like Fuchsia including that. That makes sense?
Well, I wonder, Fuchsia, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, but you know, this debate of who's the better one, and every year we seem to go through this.
Every year, and every month.
There's no clear choice. You know, there's never a clear choice.
There's never going to be a clear choice.
Too. But I wonder, though, is it time to change the game with this Fuchsia that you're talking about?
Right.
You know, and how's that going to now? You're adding another piece of the fragmentation, another fragment.
No.
He's saying it's strictly for the Pixel and nothing else.
Google, what the guy's saying is he thinks Google is going to say, we're done with Android. You won't find Android on a Pixel. You'll find Fuchsia. Android is going to be what Samsung is using and what LG is using. So when it's all fragmented, if you go buy that, you're on your own. You know what I mean? Okay. You don't look, you know,
but
kind of like the Pixel.
They're going to be able to talk to each other, you know.
It'll keep, from what I'm guessing, it's going to, you know, they're both going to have assistant, but the main operating system is going to be Fuchsia for a Pixel phone. Or if you buy a Pixel.
Let's not forget the backstory here, because the rumors about them trying to combine Chrome and Android have been going on for 3 or 4 years already, and they haven't successfully done it yet.
No, they haven't. And Will, I know about this before, but Will showed me where iOS is doing a hell of a job, because him and I were having a conversation and he was on his MacBook.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was, Will, we were SMS texting.
Yeah, you can text, yeah.
Right. So, but that's an interesting prospect that Google is going to now come out with essentially another operating system. Is that what you're somewhat?
That's what his theory is of what Fuchsia is going to become. Is Google is going to leave Android because they can't control it anymore, and they're going to make their own and kind of lock it down like iPhone a little bit, where it's not going to be open source. So Samsung won't be able to put Fuchsia on a Galaxy. So it'll end the fragmentation with, or as far as Google's concerned, if you buy a Google phone or a Fuchsia phone, you have Fuchsia. So there's no fragmentation with Fuchsia. The fragmentation will still be with Android.
Of course, the difference between Google and Apple as far as operating systems at that point is Apple only has to support one system. Google would now have 2 separate systems to support.
Well, I think they got the money for it.
I'm not the money for it, but it's still a lot more work, a lot more programmers.
George, unless they just say, all right, we're done with Android and that's it.
They're not going to. They make too much money. They make way too much money.
They make money off of what? The Google Suite, right?
Yeah, but they also make a lot of money off Android. Think about all the phone companies around the world who are paying them to use Android.
They're paying them to use the Google Suite of services, right? So Samsung
and Android. No, because in China they can't even use the Google Suite of services, but they're still paying for Android. And there's a whole bunch of Chinese phone companies out there that we know nothing about.
I thought Android was free. I thought what you're paying for is being able to use.
I think you're paying for a
Gmail,
license to use Android,
Hangouts,
don't you think?
That's what I thought. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know how that worked. I thought Android was free. I don't know. I thought it worked like Android was free, and you're paying to use Gmail, Chrome. And in that case, Samsung would still, they wouldn't have to do it. They could go with their browser. Good luck with that because the support wouldn't be there. But
have you used the Samsung browser? I have.
Yeah, I've used it. It's okay, but I'm saying
I don't like it at all. Never
you
did.
don't? I like it. I like it on the S9 because unlike Chrome, you can use your fingerprint to sign in, or you know what I mean. It does have some, which doesn't make sense because that's the other thing. iPhone, you can sign in with your face on Chrome.
Okay,
on Android, you still can't do that. I don't know. But anyway, I just think that they might just say, we're done with Android. We're going to put Fuchsia in. The rest of y'all do whatever. And maybe they'll separate the team. You know what I mean?
That's I'm thinking they have to have separate teams.
Android team and
dangerous stuff going on there.
Nah, but the fragmentation will be over. Because
it'll be over on one device, not
and then listen,
the other devices.
But who cares about the other devices? You buy them at your own risk. But that's what I was saying, Mike. Look, that's what else the guy said. The same thing I was telling y'all last week. When Google came out with Google Assistant on the Pixel or on any Android phone, this was the argument. He said, you take away whatever is special about that phone when you let everybody else have it. He said, if you tell somebody go buy a Pixel, right? You're telling or a Samsung, the whole thing is our phones are customizable. Android is customizable. That's the thing that makes it better than iOS, right? So why would you buy a Pixel that's not going to have all the features over an S9 when you can make your S9 just like a Pixel and you have more features and you're getting Google Assistant and you're getting Google Lens and you're getting everything that Google comes with on that phone? It's like it's like their thing is flawed. Like, you know what I mean?
But let's not forget you're having other phone companies making Android One phones, which are getting more and more like pure Android.
Yeah.
Android One is like stock. Yeah, but the specs are down.
It is stock. And you get updates too.
But at that point, you're getting a cheap phone that's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, but see, that's the same thing. That's what I'm saying, George. By Google releasing everything to everybody, you're taking away it's like this. Imagine, I think we talked about it last week. Imagine if Google said the algorithm that we use for this camera to make our photos look so good, processing in the background, if we gave it to everybody, you wouldn't buy a Pixel.
No. Right.
That's what I can't understand. As much as they want your data, Google was getting your data for all these years. They're still getting your data, but don't give everybody Assistant. Don't give somebody who bought a OnePlus, don't give them Google Assistant because
I think part of the reason they're giving them Google Assistant is because they are now also a hardware company. It's because of Google.
Yes,
Phone.
Okay, George. Now, okay, listen, George, they're a hardware company. They want to sell me a $900, $989 phone. They want to sell me that phone. Why would I buy that phone? What am I getting different?
They also want to sell you speakers at different prices.
George, listen. What software am I getting different between that phone? Don't think about the fact that it's an update and all that, because remember, people don't care.
I'm not thinking about phones. I'm thinking about Google Home and Google Home Mini.
George, yours is going off. George, what software am I getting different?
That was my S9 heard me.
What software am I going to get different if I buy a $900 Google Pixel 2 XL 128? Why would I buy that instead of just going to buy 2 OnePlus phones? That's what I'm saying. You're giving everything.
I see your point, but you're saying, why are they giving Google Assistant out? And I'm saying they're giving Google Assistant out because they're going to be selling more and more speakers and that kind of stuff, and it'll work with your phone too.
Wait.
George. Hold on, Mike. Hold on. George, they're a hardware company. They want to sell me a phone. A phone is making phone calls.
When I said they're a hardware company, I meant speakers too. I'm not
but everything. Phones. Yeah, but George, why would I buy a $900 Pixel when I can go buy 2 OnePlus phones? I'm getting Google Assistant on it. Now, if I want Google Assistant, don't give it to me on the phone. Make me go buy Google Home. Don't give me everything. That's like if that's just like everybody said.
With you because
no, listen, George, listen, George.
Getting your data in more places.
But George, you can get my data if I buy your $30 Google Home. Yeah. Don't give me the data. If you're trying to sell me a phone, sell me the phone as the phone. Don't sell me the phone with some extra. That's like if Apple said. That's like if Apple said you can buy an iPhone for $1,000 and it's gonna come with Face ID, iMessage, all that, or you can go buy a OnePlus and we're gonna let them use Face ID and iMessage. So what would you buy?
No, I agree with you. You're making my point about the OnePlus before, but I'll give you an example of why I think it's good that they do it with all the phones.
There isn't no example.
Today, my wife was having problem casting to one of the TVs, and I said, "Oh, well, you want me to do it from here?" Well, I was at work, but I could tell either one of these phones cast it to the TV in the bedroom, and it would do it, and it didn't matter which phone I had.
George, this is why it's not good. Let me tell you why it's not good.
That's why it is good.
No, George, let me tell you why it's not good. Because if I'm Google, you have an S9 or whatever you were using at work, right?
Right.
My whole thing should be, if you want to use Google, if your wife wants to cast to that TV, she better have a Pixel, or she can't do it from her phone. Or she better have a Google Home in your house instead of she can have any phone. $100 phone and still cast. That would make sense.
Will, are you done? You done?
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense.
When is Will done? I mean, come on.
Mike, explain to me, Mike, why that makes sense. If you became a hardware company, I could see if you were still putting out Nexus phones for $500, it's different. You're trying to sell $1,000 phone. That's why people laugh. If you're gonna tell somebody, George, listen. Okay, George, George, you got your. Let's say you have your OnePlus 5, right? You have your OnePlus 5. You take your OnePlus 5 and well, you don't have a Pixel anymore. You take your OnePlus 5 and let's say you had your Pixel. You go to the mall and show somebody the two phones and say this one was $1,000 and this one was $500. What do you think they're gonna want? It's just
I'll tell you which one I'd recommend to buy. The OnePlus.
Okay, why?
Because it's a better value, which is what I said an hour ago.
Okay, now if I told you I want to have Google Assistant, which one would you recommend?
OnePlus.
Why?
Because it has Google Assistant.
Exactly. So how is Google going to sell phones?
I think
Google. Go ahead, Mike. Let Mike say something.
Will, what you're speaking of is you're trying to say Google should be exclusive, just like how Apple is.
Exactly.
And that's
not with everything. Not with everything.
But you are suggesting that. And some,
not everything. You can put.
Then you're really gonna cause an upheaval in trying to get that point across to people that our products are better. Our products do this.
No. Mike, this is gonna be.
This is Google, and to point to George, Google is a hardware company because they're selling. They got the minis, which sold especially the minis. They were practically giving them away to you.
Yeah.
So then, in turn, you looked at the mini. I mean, the mini was so cheap, people were buying 3 or 4 of them and put them through the house. And then,
but listen.
Tell us Woods is making a good comment. Because Google Assistant feeds them more data, and since they're a data-driven company, their focus will be getting data from as many sources as possible. Exactly.
I understand that. Listen, I understand all that you're saying about data. That's fantastic. They want data. But if you, George, that's Mike, that's like you trying to sell me something and I can get the same thing for $10 and you're selling it to me for $50.
Because they're going to make billions.
No, listen, George, listen, George, listen, George, Mike, hold on. They came out with the Pixel because they wanted to sell phones. They went and got a Verizon deal because they want to sell phones, not because they want to play. They want to make money on the phone.
But you seem to be making the assumption that because they want to sell phones, they want to stop doing everything else that's been collecting data on everybody's phone in the world for years. And
George, listen. George, hold on. George, listen. If I told you this, your wife is trying to cast to the TV. Let's say you couldn't cast from your work because you couldn't do it. That's like me. I can broadcast from the iPhone at work on my Google Home. Let's say I couldn't do that. Let's say I couldn't do it, right? Because I didn't have a Pixel. My next option would be if your wife wants to be able to broadcast, to talk to the TV and make it do it, you have to buy a Google Home. They're still going to get your data, and Google is going to sell a device. You just took away a sale of a Google Home, but possibly. Listen, George. George,
you're just totally distorting the whole idea of your data.
I'm
they're
not.
Going to get your data from your Google Home. But if you have 5 phones in the house, they're getting it from your Google Home and 5 other phones at the same time.
Listen to me. Okay, George, yes, they're going to get it from everywhere, even if before Assistant.
And that's where they make their billions.
George, they got your, so don't sell phones. You can't, if you're going to sell phones. I think
the phones is something they wanted to do. I don't think it's their main thing. The data is always going to be their main thing.
If you're going to sell.
Mike, you got to talk so we can see that thing.
Look, if you're going to sell your phone for $900.
There you go.
If you're gonna sell your phone, for $900, it has to stand out. There has to be something besides the camera. Something besides the camera
in the world.
You can't sell your phone on just the camera if it's $900.
They've been doing pretty good with it,
George, and they're not though, because they're not selling what they want to be selling. Because you can go buy a OnePlus 5 and you're getting all the same features from the Pixel. And if you use Snapchat, you're still getting a blurry picture because on Android, they don't even use the real camera. You know what I mean? Even if you have a Pixel, you're not using the camera from the app. That's what they did all that stuff with the.
I got a question in the room. It says Seth here says they sell a $15 broadcast adapter. Why not go?
Okay.
What's the broadcast connector? I'm sorry.
I don't know that either.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it probably can broadcast to the TV some kind of way. So, George, listen, you buy an S9, you can broadcast from home. Why would Google allow you to do that when they can make you buy an adapter? You know what I mean? It's dumb. That's dumb. I understand they want your data. Google has a ton of data. They're going to get your data no matter what because they have other ways to get your data. And if your wife couldn't change the channel on the TV because she didn't have a Pixel, you're going to say, let me find out what's the next way to do it. Okay, I have to buy a Google Home Mini now. Not, I can use any phone in my drawer. My $75 Motorola phone can do it. That's dumb.
I don't think so. If it's so dumb, why are they one of the most successal companies on earth?
George,
Will.
Answer that question.
George, they're successful. Listen, y'all are making it about Google being successful. Google's going to be successful anyway. But what I'm saying is, they can't expect somebody to buy a Pixel phone if you're going to give everything away.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. Now, go back for a second. Let's go back to Fuchsia. You really think you're going to be able to sell Fuchsia to the masses?
Yeah, you're not selling Fuchsia. Listen, Mike, you're not selling. Mike, listen,
it's going to happen because I'm going to tell you real quick. Listen. When I went to help my friend today to get her to get her phone, guess what? I walked up to the counter. Hey, I'm here to help my friend get a SIM card, right? And what was there were 4 iPhones, an iPad, and and the Apple Watch. Right there. Okay. You cannot come into this market now and try and do something like that. Mike,
listen. No. It's not crazy. Mike, listen, Amazon didn't have a smart speaker nowhere. What happened? You see them everywhere, right? Amazon, Mike, Amazon. Amazon had no smart speakers. Now look, everywhere you go, you see an Echo.
And everywhere you go, you do not see an Amazon phone. So they were good with one, not good with the other.
Okay, but listen, this is Google. Google is not going to come out and say, our phone, this is our Fuchsia phone. They're going to come out and say, this is the Pixel whatever. Just like we said, most people don't care about updates. They don't even know what they're running. All they're going to know is they're buying a phone. Google's backing it. It's got Google Assistant, blah, 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 blah. This is special. That's like saying with an iPhone, you know, this is the only place that you can go to get iMessage. Mike, the only place you can go to get iMessage or iOS, iPhone is not going to say, we're going to put iMessage on another phone.
Okay.
Because once you do that, your phone isn't special anymore.
What we have is a basic difference in strategy.
Mike, listen.
And Mike and I disagree with your strategy.
Listen, I'm not talking about selling data. I'm talking about selling phones. Forget.
And I think that's where you're being small-minded.
No, it's not. Listen,
Apple got famous because of selling phones. Google did not get famous because this is just something they wanted to do.
Yes, I understand. No, listen, I understand what you're saying. But what I'm talking about, forget about what got them famous and all that. Just think about selling a phone. If you want to sell a phone, because Google wants to sell you a phone. Google wants to sell you a phone because
you're missing my point. Apple has to sell you a phone because that's the only way they can be successful. Google does not have to sell you a phone.
I understand. Google doesn't have to sell you a phone.
They just want to sell you a phone.
Okay, now George, Google doesn't have to sell you a phone. I understand that. They don't have to sell me a phone. But what I'm saying is...
And I'm going to add one more thing. If Google does that, part of what they're going to get accused of is the same thing that you say people hate Apple for. People say Apple is snobby and they think they're above everybody. Google will be getting the same thing.
Listen, okay, who told Samsung they're snobby for putting Samsung Pay in their phone? Can't nobody else do that?
That's
nobody
true.
tells them they're snobby.
But Samsung overcame any argument because they can do what everybody else can do.
George, listen. Nobody tells them they're snobby, right? They put Samsung Pay in their phone.
Apple snobby.
Listen, hold on. OnePlus has Dash Charge. Who tells them they're snobby that their phone can charge from 0 to 60 in 25 minutes?
Because OnePlus is not locking people out of their system. They have Android on the phone too.
No, just the charging. So when it's time for you to say, or somebody to say, I had a OnePlus before, I need to buy a phone, they're going to be like, I need a phone that charges fast.
My opinion is your arguments are specious because you're trying to separate everything out to try to prove your argument. And it's not working.
Because, George, all I'm talking about is selling phones. Forget everything else. If Google wants to sell a phone, if they want the Pixel to be a success, they have to make it different. You can't make it the same. You can't do that.
I think they have made it different.
How? How did they make it different, Will,
what's your thing about being different? What, the Fuchsia is going to be different?
No, what I'm saying, because listen.
He says no, and then yes.
No. He's saying because the Fuchsia going to be different. Fuchsia, if they do it the way the guy's suggestion or what he's saying is, Fuchsia is going to only be on a Pixel, just like iOS is only on an iPhone. Mike, look, if you could get iPhone on an Android, would you be trying to go think about getting an iPhone? If you can get iMessage on an Android?
I hear you, Will. I understand that. But what I'm trying to also say to you, too, is that what you're saying is that the Pixel is going to be an exclusive thing with their own exclusive OS. Is that what you're saying, right?
That's what the guy's idea was, yeah.
But think about what you're saying. Wait a minute. Think about what you're saying and think about what I just said. You're suggesting that they come and be exclusive, right? No, yeah. Right? Yeah. So you're saying to have their own operating system. Is that what Fuchsia is going to be?
Okay, it's not going to have what? Because you're going to say it's not going to have Android or they can't use the App Store. Of course, they're going to use the App Store, but Fuchsia or whatever is going to have features that aren't going to be on Android, just like Google Pay. I mean, Samsung Pay is only on a Samsung. That's what Mike. Listen, strategy again. Hold on, Mike. Listen. When you had the S7, you were like, I really love Samsung Pay. I really love Samsung Pay because you can't go nowhere else and get Samsung Pay. If I buy an Android phone, I can get everything on a $50 Android phone. Forget Google trying to sell me data. Google is trying to sell me a phone.
Don't hurt your daughter being all-sided now.
I don't care if they're rich, if they can't. I don't care if they're rich or not without it. They're still trying to sell me a phone.
What makes Apple?
It doesn't matter about Apple.
What makes Apple so exclusive is that they were first, and they built up their base long before anybody else was successful. I don't think Google wants to be exclusive, but Apple, because they got successful that way.
George, Google wants to be. Google is gonna want to be exclusive soon because if you don't think so, look how frustrated they get when the other people don't update the phones. Google's we're
not being exclusive. That's being inclusive.
No, listen to me, because they want it to matter when they release an update. They don't want to just be releasing an update.
Being inclusive, not exclusive.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying, okay, yeah, you're right. But they want their update to mean something, right?
Yes.
They want their update doesn't matter now because everybody else is doing what they want. They want to, if they separate, when you get a Pixel and you get the Fuchsia operating system, it's going to be different than buying S9 or buying.
You have just defeated your own argument. They want their update to matter. Well, if they have Fuchsia, it'll matter to Fuchsia and Fuchsia only, and I don't think that's what they want.
But because if you want to get a Google phone at that point, if you want a phone with Fuchsia Assistant or whatever, you got to get a Fuchsia phone.
I don't think they want to be exclusive like that. I really don't. I think Google may be the most inclusive company in the world. Apple is kind of the opposite.
They shouldn't expect to sell phones. Not the way it is now.
I think they can.
Wait,
be LG. George, huh?
Did you just say they shouldn't be selling phones?
No, I said they won't even be an LG. They won't even be LG.
What?
I don't think they care.
They do care. LG, Mike, you don't think
care.
LG sells more phones than Google?
Yeah, they probably do.
They do. They got.
Are you talking about Are you talking about the what they call the food stamp ones?
LG
LG
sells more G6s than Google sold Pixels.
They did.
They had to. I'm sure they did.
I don't know.
They had to. You think I think Google only sold like 4 million Pixels. You think LG didn't sell 4 million phones?
G6s or all their phones?
G6s.
They sold more phones from the $100 one at Cricket.
No. Mike, you gotta. When we get done, go Google it. I bet you they sold more. I bet you, because Google is giving away everything that makes their phone special. You can get it everywhere.
No, Mike, don't Google it, Mike, because it's not exclusive enough. Don't Google it.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta make it. You gotta make it different, George.
I can't Google it. I don't have Siri on my phone.
George, you have Samsung Pay. Mike, you had Samsung Pay, and you liked Samsung Pay. If you could get Samsung Pay everywhere, why buy a Samsung phone?
Here.
I
don't think people buy Samsung phones just for Samsung Pay.
George, you gotta go poll some people. George, go poll some people who use Samsung.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Pat.
Hi.
George, go.
I just got clean laundry. Don't leave it here.
George, go ask some people who use Samsung phones.
Say hello to Mike first.
If they value Samsung Pay.
I didn't say that.
Ask Mike about Samsung Pay.
I said I don't think people buy a Samsung phone just for Samsung Pay.
It's not only for Samsung Pay, but that's a part of the reason why
it may be part of it, yeah.
So if they put Samsung,
just like the Pixel photos may be part of the reason you buy a Pixel phone.
If they put Samsung Pay everywhere, you don't have to come back to Samsung.
I think your argument is specious because we have different strategic ideas. And I think Apple and Samsung and Google have different strategic ideas.
Because you're not looking at it from my point of view. I understand Google wants to Google wants to get data. I understand that. And they're doing a great job getting data. But I'm looking at it as if you want to sell a phone, you can't make your phone the same as a $50 phone.
Well, your argument would make sense to me if Google was dependent upon selling phones, but they're not. Apple is.
Why are we always bringing it back to Apple? Anybody?
Because Apple's the other one that's so successful at it.
Samsung did it with Samsung Pay. Sure. Samsung Pay is separate. Samsung
do it with Samsung Pay. Long before Samsung Pay, Samsung was the top selling phone on earth, and you know it.
But what I'm saying is Samsung separated. They said we got Samsung Pay. You can't get Samsung Pay nowhere else. So what are they being?
I just saw
Samsung Pay was ever heard of. They was already the most successful phone on earth. Had nothing to do with Samsung Pay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Samsung is the only place that you can go to get Samsung
I agree.
Pay. So,
I agree, but that's not what sold their phones before. That's not what's selling their phones now.
Apple is the only place you can go to get iMessage.
And I agree.
When Google came out with the Pixel, that was the only place you can go with Google Assistant for 2 months.
That's true.
They hyped up Google Assistant like it was going to be an exclusive feature, right?
No, I think you built that up in your mind. It wasn't an exclusive feature for a little while. I'll give you that.
Exclusive, and then they went and rolled it out to everybody,
which I think they planned to all along.
But why wouldn't you leave Google Assistant on the Google phone?
Because they wanted everybody's Android experience to be basically the same. Google Assistant is making it better and better on everything it's on.
That's crazy. Nah, they can't expect to compete doing that. When they break it off, George,
they can't expect to compete. What, selling phones? You mean, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they expect to compete selling phones because they don't have to just sell phones.
George, when you come out and say,
I guess what I'm saying in the long run, 10 years from now, if you ask, what has Google made the most money with? Selling phones or Android Assistant? I'll guarantee you it's going to be Android Assistant.
Wait.
Okay, George.
You got to change that, George. Not Android, not the Google Assistant, but services. Okay?
Yes, which is part of it. Yes.
Not the Google Assistant, but the service. I mean, you had the G Suite, for example. They're selling that to businesses. Now you got to change your YouTube. The music and all. Now that's another service.
And I agree with you, Mike. You're kind of agreeing with me. I'm just saying they are not dependent on selling phones, and they're never going to be. I don't think dependent on selling phones.
George, that's all you're telling me is that they're not dependent on selling phones. I understand that.
And they're going to keep getting richer and richer and richer.
When you stand up, George, that's like saying, George.
Did you guys see in the comments?
Yeah, I see them. But George.
Google made?
Yeah, I seen it. That's great, but that's like Samsung saying, "Oh, we're selling TVs, but we don't care about it if we take a loss over there." They're never going to do that, right?
What's that? LG?
Samsung sells TVs, washing machines, dryers. They're not going to be like, "Oh, if we take a loss on whatever our weakest thing is, we don't care."
If they take a loss, they're going to try to cover it.
George,
but they're also the world's largest shipbuilder and the world's largest maker of buildings, so they can afford to take a loss once in a while.
George, who cares about selling a building? What I'm telling you is,
I think Samsung does.
If Samsung is in 5 different areas, they want to make money. They want to make money and be successful in all the areas.
That's
and
true.
Be number one.
But if Google, they don't, they'll carry it for a while.
Listen to me. Google wants to be number one in phones, right? You don't think they want to be number one?
I don't think that's true.
No, George. No. George, that's wrong. George, they came out with the Pixel and said, your phone will never say out of storage. You have a headphone jack.
Yes,
You
that's
have the
true.
best camera because we want to be number one.
I don't
DxO
think
Mark
so.
said we have the number one camera. We
I
have
don't
the
think
most
they want to be the
unlimited.
I don't think their
Yes,
goal is
they
to be the
do.
number one
Yes,
phone in the world. I think
everybody's
that's
goal.
Apple's goal. I think that's probably Samsung's goal.
Everybody who makes a phone's goal is to be number one in phones, unless you're small.
Unless
one
phones are
right
just
now.
a part of your business strategy and not the major part of it.
George, they want to be number one, even if it's not realistic. And me and you know they won't be. They want to be number one. That's why they're doing it.
Okay.
Everybody does something to be number
So
one.
you're saying you and me know they won't be, and they don't know that? Like they're not smarter than you and me?
George,
Come on.
no, but George, they can know it. But when they wake up in the morning, they don't say, I'll settle for 15th place.
No, but
They're
I
we
think
want to be
your problem
number
is
one seller in the world.
I don't think you can understand how they think about business.
George, George, nobody wants to lose. Nobody.
I don't think
Even
you
if
can
they know-
understand their business strategy. I really don't.
George,
Now, I'm not
forget the
saying I
business-
completely
George,
understand it too, but I
George,
think you're thinking
George.
way too small.
George,
George,
forget
you know
the
what?
business strategy.
We got to invite Sundar Pichai. Is that his name? The CEO.
Sundar Pichai.
Listen,
And-
they want to sell phones.
Agreement and get
Yes,
him.
they want to sell phones.
They
We'll
want
see
to
how-
sell phones. They want to
Do
sell
I
a
think
lot
they
of
ever
phones.
care if they
Mike,
become number one?
Mike,
I don't think
Mike,
so.
listen to me. Mike,
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
let's go. You think Google wants to be the number one phone seller?
No.
I don't.
Y'all are crazy.
Thank you, Mike.
Y'all are crazy. So you think they're just putting out phones for fun?
Now, I think they want to sell phones and they want to make a profit on them. Do I think they want to be number one? I don't think they care.
Business model. Just like don't forget though, what's the name? Apple does the same thing. Let's talk about iTunes. You know, iTunes. You know, they are. You don't hear much about it, but they're selling stuff that people got. You know,
Yeah,
a membership or whatever. You know what I mean to get iTunes. Or are you paying for iTunes right now?
No.
Are you paying for any storage on any of those Apple products? No. You will be.
Because you know why? Because I'm using Google's. But what I'm saying is,
well, there you go.
what do you mean?
That was good,
We,
Will.
I understand. I use Google services. Who cares? Everybody does. And
Right.
that's great. But if they didn't want to make money on phones and flip it, they would have stayed with Nexus. The Pixel should be $400 then.
Will, you're asking two different questions. One, you asked, do they want to make money on phones? I say, yes, they do want to make money on phones. Two, do they want to be number one? I don't think they give a crap.
They do. They want to be number one, George.
I think
They want to be
their business
George. They want to be
strategy,
number one.
they don't need to be number one. I don't
George, you
think-
don't.
and like you say, we know and they know they're not going to be number one. I don't think that bothers them one bit.
Xavier,
They're funny.
they want to be number one. Everybody wants to be number one.
You know, at some point, making a profit
Mike.
with their phone.
Mike,
See, you drove him out of the room.
it's just like Amazon. Amazon wants to be the number one smart speaker or whatever, right?
They wanted to be the number one phone maker, but that didn't work out too well.
And now what do they want to do? They want to be the number one smart
Yes,
speaker
yes.
company.
That's true.
The same way Google wants to be the number one phone. They wouldn't have went to Verizon and got a deal at Verizon if they wasn't trying to sell phones.
They are trying to sell phones. I just
So-
don't think they
so
want to be number
if you
one.
wanna-
I don't
if
think
you
they
really
care
wanna
about
sell-
being number one.
If you really want to sell phones, you gotta make something exclusive, or I'm just gonna go buy one.
I disagree with that. I think they're proving you can do it by selling stuff inclusive as opposed to exclusive and be successful.
Nah,
Yeah,
they want the data and all that.
Alphabet is actually the parent of
Yeah, the
Alphabet.
parent company. Yeah, they changed
Yeah.
the name.
Very good, Don.
I think
I think they would have. Now, let me do this as the former singer. I think they would if they could, but they can't, so they shan't. Right on, brother man.
What they should do is they got to keep something exclusive. We'll see when they start when they start cutting the features out of regular Android.
Well, if you're right about
For the
future,
Pixel.
we'll find out.
Because look, George, what did you tell me? George said they're selling phones based on the camera, right? But they don't
I
want to be
believe
number
so.
one. But they don't want to be number one.
I
so
don't
why
think
aren't
they
they?
ever
Listen,
expect to be number
George,
one.
George, why aren't they giving that camera the post processing to everybody?
Because they're selling phones based on the camera, and they want it to be some kind of successful. I just don't think they care about being number one.
So if they don't give that out, stop giving out everything else. The camera's collecting data too. Don't give out everything. That's all I'm saying. Don't give everything from your phone.
I think there's a basic attitude difference in the way Google does business. And this goes back to what I said about me believing Google is a good company. I think part of what makes Google a good moral company is that they want to be inclusive and want to give everybody while they're making money, of course.
So what's the name of that company? Give Essential Phone your camera stuff. Help them out.
I said, you want to be making money at the same time. You want to be inclusive.
So that's what I'm telling you. If you're giving everything on your phone that I can get on every other phone, how are you going to make money? Give me your camera.
But you can't get that camera on every other phone.
But you're giving me assistant. That's what I'm telling you.
Right.
You're giving me a part of your phone that in the beginning was supposed to be special and was supposed to be exclusive.
And what has Google been saying for years is their goal as far as Android. They want Android to be in everybody's hands in the entire world. Part of that is Google Assistant.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a part.
It is now. It is now. That's what I'm saying.
Look at the comments. I'm pointing down my phone. Seth says Android is an open source exclusive only.
Friday, we don't go your time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's open source. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the whole premise. That's their whole
inclusivity.
You were saying Google's making money. Listen, Google's making money every time a phone company or an OE wants to let out a phone. Okay, if let's go back to HTC days. Just what I formulate in my head when they had, I think it was one of the early H7 or H7. What's the ones in the 5 years ago? The one that was made out of metal.
The 7.
The 1M8. The 1M8.
1M8. That's right. Yeah.
Or something like that. They had to go. HTC had to go to Google, and they also went to Windows. And they said, "Hey, we want to put the operation." Okay, no problem. Here's the bylaws. Here's the rules, and give us $1 billion so you can have the licensing to do it.
Thank you.
Look at all these cheap phones. And I point out.
Listen, Mike, what y'all are making it sound like is I'm saying Google's not rich. I understand that. But if you go into a market, Mike, if you go sell cars, do you want to just be another car salesman? You know what I mean? That don't make sense. There's no way.
It's only a part of your strategy. It's not your whole strategy.
If the idea that y'all have is somebody's idea who's a businessman, then they shouldn't be a businessman because who wants to be second best? Nobody. Google wouldn't have came out attacking Apple, coming at this company for not having a headphone jack, or this company for running out of storage, or saying we don't need expandable storage because we're going to give you cloud storage and we're going to give you. They wouldn't have did all that if they wasn't trying to sell phones. So forget Google having money and collecting data. That's all y'all keep saying. I understand that.
You let Mike talk.
Y'all are making it sound because
down at the desk. And
y'all
I
are
don't
making
have it in my head here.
Y'all are making it sound like I understand. I understand that part. But
Google should be selling phones. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Google sells phones. But if Google really wants to sell a lot of phones, which of course they want to sell a lot of phones, you can't tell me they don't. They want to sell a lot of phones.
So you're saying the potential fix was the fuchsia thing, right?
Okay, yeah. Let's say they did that. Yeah,
saying, right?
Yeah,
Okay, is that what the suggestion was?
That's a potential, yeah.
The potential of fuchsia having a more
exclusive,
and that it's no, is it a closed?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it more of a closed system?
It's
right?
just gonna be. You can't get this feature or whatever we're putting on this phone. You can't go get it on a $200
Yeah, you said it won't be
phone
open source.
because you're trying to sell hardware.
What will Fuchsia have that make these two operating systems different? That stand out.
Okay, look, I'm not saying I know what it's gonna have, but what I'm saying is
one thing we know will have is a combination of Chrome and Android.
When the Pixel came out, Mike, the Pixel was the only phone that had Google Assistant. Why wouldn't you leave that there? Listen to me, Mike. Leave it. Mike, listen.
What's Fuchsia going to have that's really going to stand out from the rest?
Listen. No, look, I'm not arguing that Fuchsia is going to be the best thing in the world. What I'm saying is if Google said, all right, Google Assistant is only on this phone. When George, his wife, wanted to stream to the TV and she couldn't stream to the TV, she would have said, either I got to buy a Pixel phone to get Assistant or I got to buy a Google Home to get Assistant.
Okay,
I can go download Google Assistant on my Samsung S9.
Here's a comment from Seth Fournette. Google wants to sell the OS, not the phone itself. Phone has liability. The OS cell doesn't. I think he's right. And you think he's wrong. I understand that.
No, I understand what you're saying, but Google wants to sell phones. Google bought HTC. If Google just wanted to sell the operating system, they're already doing that.
Google, and when nobody's disagreeing here that Google wants to sell phones. The disagreement that Mike and I have with you is that Google is not shooting to be number one. It's just one part of their business strategy, whereas with Apple, it's their entire business strategy, and it shows better stay that way.
You keep comparing it to Apple. Samsung is trying to be number one, and it's not their entire business.
Yeah, and they are number one, and they have
LG is trying to be number one, and it's not their entire business.
But LG doesn't have.
Everybody's trying to be number one. You keep comparing it to Apple. I'm saying for anybody. The way Google does it, they're competing more with
and that's where I disagree with you. Everybody is not the same on that.
They're competing.
I think Google may want to be the number one company in the world.
Listen, forget Apple, because Google got to compete with Samsung. They can't even pass Samsung.
That's true.
So
do I think as a phone company they're worried about passing Samsung? Not at all.
George, listen. Take the phone division of Google. Forget everything else that Google has. The phone division of Google. Does that want to beat Samsung?
No, forget everything else. That's going to be a failed company.
No, listen to me.
And they'd be out of business today.
George, the portion of HTC that Google bought, that's their phone company. Let's say that's Google Phone. Company.
If that's all Google had, they would be out of business in 3 or 4 years.
George, listen to me. They want to be number one, right?
I disagree.
That phone company doesn't want to be number one. Are you serious? The phone company. Forget the rest of Google.
If I'm a Google phone division, do I think it's realistic that I'm ever going to outsell Samsung? No, I don't.
George, oh my God. Listen, when you
don't get frustrated
because you're looking at it. All right, George,
as a total business strategy company wide, I can't look at it the way you want me to as one small piece of a business.
Why? It's separated. It's all separated.
Do they all belong to Alphabet or not?
When you go into Google's office, you're not going to find the phone company right there. The people who are making the
guy is head of Google, but when
I'm going to find that guy on Twitter.
Is his business strategy to just make Google successful or to make Alphabet successful?
George, when I find him on Twitter, I'm going to ask him, do you want to be the number one phone company? And I'm going to see when he says, nah, we're good being number 17. No, it's not happening. George, he wants to be number one. That's like saying,
I'm just thinking it's unreal. Do you think they're going to spend the money to get bigger than Samsung?
George, pick a player in the NBA who makes good money.
No. Do you think they're going to spend the money to be a bigger phone company than Samsung?
George, pick a player in the NBA.
No, answer my question first.
What? Do you
think that Google is going to spend the money to become a bigger phone company than Samsung?
Why wouldn't they?
I think they'd be stupid to spend that kind of money.
Yeah, but see, George, because for them to spend the money, if they're getting a return on it, it's a good idea, right?
If they,
If they're getting a return,
Now you're
George,
talking about war.
before Amazon made a smart speaker, you would have said Amazon's not going to spend the money to catch up.
no,
with
I would not have
Google
said
on
that.
it. Why?
Because they were the first successful one to do it.
Okay,
Much
well,
as-
forget.
much as
So
I
look,
love
let's say Google. Let's say
Amazon
Google.
was first.
Wait. Do you think Google is going to spend the money to compete with Amazon in the smart speaker market?
Yes,
So what's the difference? Why do you think they wouldn't spend the money on the phone?
because Amazon was first and Google was second.
So
Google didn't enter the phone market as
Google-
second or third or
Google-
10th or 20th even.
Google didn't come into the smart speaker market and say we want to be number 8.
There's only one above us. We can get that.
George, it don't matter.
We're
Their
going
goal
to
is
end-
to sell
We're
phones.
not going
and
to
be-
agree, Will.
Their goal is to be number 1. I'm gonna call Sundar Pichai, whatever that guy's name is. I'm gonna ask him. What
is so
for?
hard? Sundar Pichai. That's not very.
I'm gonna ask him. Look at the comments said.
But-
Google is already spending money to try and beat Samsung. Everybody, they're trying to compete. If they weren't trying to compete, they wouldn't have said we got the number
And
1.
you think they're
camera.
going to spend
We got
enough
the-
money that they think they're going to be number one?
If they wasn't trying to compete, we would still have Nexus phones. We wouldn't be spending $900 for
They
the phone.
didn't want to become profitable.
George, they want to make money on the phone. So all I'm telling
They
you
may be doing that already.
George, all I'm telling you is for them to make money on the phone, they got to stop giving away everything that the phone
So
has.
you're saying they can't possibly be making money on the phone right this minute?
On the phone?
Yes.
I don't think they're making money on the phone now.
I think they probably are.
Not with all the
2 years ago, I
issues they
wouldn't have
have.
said so, but I think they
Not-
probably are now.
Not with all the issues they have with the screens and people are returning the phones and not buying them again and all. Nah.
But,
No, and I think they do want to make a good product. Yeah.
I think they want to make money on the phone.
guys, going back, I didn't get a chance to finish my point or basically my point to Will was that you're suggesting, Will, that I'm still stuck on fuchsia. That fuchsia, because it's. I'm trying to counterpoint what you're saying is that the part of where Google Assistant was, you were really let down by them letting the other OEs or being on other phones instead of being a Pixel only. So you're going to have Fuchsia, where Fuchsia is going to come out with their own operating system, and essentially, and they're going to have something. What I'm getting at is this: what can Fuchsia provide that is exclusive that nobody else is going to have?
Mike, the same thing that we would have said 2 years ago. What could the Pixel provide that nobody else is going to have? Google Assistant, and then Google gave it away.
But Will, we can answer
Google,
Mike's question right now. What Fuchsia will provide is seamless integration of Chrome and Android. Nobody else can do that.
What I'm getting at is what more can you do?
Okay. Listen, did you hear what he said? That's what he said. That was his idea. Seamless integration between Chromebooks or whatever and
between Chrome OS itself and Android.
Whatever. So that's what he's going to provide. Whatever he just said. that's what it's going to provide, Mike. Seamless integration between Chrome and Android. So what do you think?
We have it. Do we not?
No. They've been trying to integrate Chrome OS and Android OS for years, and they have not been successful at it yet.
This is not Chrome. I'm just asking, George. This is not Chrome OS here on my phone when I click on the Chrome tab.
Yes.
You're talking about the Chrome browser, yeah.
No, yeah, you're talking about the Chrome browser. That's not Chrome OS. When you go into Chrome on your computer, then when you go to Chrome on a Chromebook, that's pure Chrome OS.
Okay.
And they want to integrate that seamlessly with Android. They've been trying to do it for a long time, or they've been talking about it for a long time.
Okay. So, and that's great, but don't we already have that now in Apple?
Yes.
Okay. So
Mike,
why would I want to leave something that's already working? I mean, I wish that'd be great.
I see what you're saying. Mike. But what I was with the whole thing what the guy was saying was that in order for Google to compete with Apple, because that's what they're trying to do, no matter what y'all try to say, in order for Google to compete with Apple, they have to start from scratch because Android is too fragmented.
And that's
okay.
true.
Right. But now let's talk about the masses. Let's talk about the common person out there. I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think you can sell something like this, or it's going to take generations of essentially the youngins to eventually get onto it. We people are already kind of comforted with what we have. It's going to take years because to prove my point, I'm going back to when I was at T-Mobile, where there's 4 iPhones, a watch, and a tablet all ready to go. Oh, and by the way, I saw iPhones in their I guess they're old iPhones in their hands. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Okay.
So you're never gonna provide that what you're the exclusiveness that you were talking about.
Yes, you will. But Mike, look at the room. Look what the guy said. Android is free to run, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just can't have Google-owned apps like the Play Store and the services. So what you're talking about, you can't provide. What you say? You can't provide the exclusiveness. What if you put Fuchsia?
Well, no, Fuchsia was going to be a more exclusive. What can Fuchsia do that the Google Assistant was the hot ticket?
So okay, forget Fuchsia. Let's say Google Assistant was only on a Pixel phone. Forget Fuchsia. Google Assistant said we're only putting Assistant on the Pixel phone. Right? That's it. This version of what was that launcher you used to always get? No.
Google Now launcher.
Google Now launcher. You can only get it on a Pixel. You can only get this on a Pixel.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. They should have left the Pixel as the Pixel. That was it. Now they got the what's it called? The Google whatever widget.
Google
you can get
Assistant.
it on any phone. They're taking away everything special that makes the phone special.
I think there's a strategy why they have Google Assistant on every phone. That's my point.
Mike, listen to me. Wait, because I got to go to work.
I got to go spend some time with my wife.
Mike, yeah, George has got to go play Words with Friends. Mike, you can't do that. Listen. Now you didn't because what I'm saying makes sense. If Mike, are you gonna go buy a Pixel 3?
George, he's having a seizure.
Mike, listen, Mike, 2 phones in front of you. The Pixel 3, and the OnePlus 6. What are you gonna buy?
I'm gonna buy the OnePlus 6.
Why?
Because of the money.
Tell me why, George.
Wow.
Now, if you ask me if I had unlimited money, I'd buy the Pixel 3.
Because of it? Okay, now listen. Let's say they cost the same.
I'll buy the Pixel 3.
What about you, Mike?
Oh, wow.
All right.
I gotta go pack. I'll be right back.
So Mike, it would
take you. Ask me why I'd buy the Pixel 3. Will.
Well,
because it's got the best camera of any phone out there. If they cost the same, I want the best. But what's important to me as a YouTuber? It's always the camera.
Yeah, but okay, so
it's hard because they're going to be both great phones.
Right. Yeah. But at the same price, give me the one with the better camera.
Check the comments down below before you. For now, Samsung and Google need each other. Yes, but you can tell that Samsung and Google are competing against each other. True. The balance of power shift eventually become of the moves
because
they keep making. Yeah, that's true. It's true, and that's part of.
And look at the next comment. Seth said, Google Assistant gives priorities to Google products, so they have increased sales by using the Assistant. I agree 100%, and I think that's the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Google's going to have to do something.
Will, I love you to death. We're not going to agree on this.
We're not gonna agree, but that's because y'all keep looking at it like I'm not saying Google is making money. I understand Google's
I just
billionaire,
don't think you're
millionaire.
looking at it as a total business strategy as a company.
I'm trying to circle back. I'm trying to circle back on Will's original question about
forget business strategy, whatever.
No, you cannot forget business strategy. Otherwise, you got no business being in business.
George. We're standing on the corner. We're standing on the corner. You got a box of Pixels. I got a box of OnePlus 5s. What are you gonna forget? You know what I mean? How are you gonna sell your phone?
We're in Manhattan. We're both gonna get arrested.
How are you gonna sell? How are you gonna sell your phone? You know what I mean?
I'm missing it,
George, because you don't have nothing exclusive about the phone.
Nothing. I'd say nothing special rather than an exclusive. But I see your point.
That's what I'm telling you. Google should have left the assistant or left something to Google.
Well, this is where
said, this is just Google. That's it.
This is where I agree.
Just the camera.
This is where I agree with Seth Fournette.
What?
This is where I agree with the comment that Google Assistant sells Google products.
Mm.
Go to work, Will.
George. Google Assistant sells Google products. Let's say you had your S9 at work. Oh, you're gonna tell your wife, sorry, I can't control the TV. We got to get a Google Assistant. Not, I can do it from my Samsung phone.
Or so why would you ever buy a Pixel? Phone, or I can do it from my...
So why would you buy a Pixel? That's what I'm saying. Why would you buy a Google Home? Why would you buy?
I'm only going to buy a Pixel if I want to spend the money to get the best camera out there. That's the only reason I'm going to buy a Pixel.
Which is why they're not selling.
Mm.
That's why they're not selling. That's why they're not selling. Because
Android says in here, Google doesn't need anything exclusive. Camera and software is king.
Yeah. Nah, that's not. I don't think that's true because the techies love the software. A regular person is going to say that's boring. It doesn't do nothing.
Okay, but the camera.
I don't think they're going to say that's boring. I mean, you can't look at a picture. You can't look at a photo from a Pixel phone and not see the difference.
George, if you walk it, remember, not you, a regular person. Mike's friend walks into AT&T Verizon, a Pixel versus a Galaxy. He's gonna be like, "Wow, this Galaxy looks amazing. Look at the screen. I can slide in from the side. I can Samsung Pay. The Pixel don't do nothing. It's got a nice camera.
But if he's a person who puts photos first, and you show him a photo from each, the Pixel going to win every time.
If you show him a photo side by side, he might see a little difference, but he's gonna be like, "Wait a minute, this phone has Samsung Pay. I want Samsung Pay."
Okay, you may be right. You could be right there.
Because now Samsung isn't gonna say, "Wait, we just got this great technology."
But you hear what I said? I said you may be right then because people are different. Some people are going to go for the Samsung Pay. Some people are going to go for the photo.
Mike, if you could get,
I'll go with Pixel 3.
If you could get Samsung Pay on your Nexus 5, would you have bought the S7? You know what I mean? You would have been like, "Oh, I can sell this phone in a minute because it doesn't matter. I can still go to ShopRite and pay. I can still go to Walmart and pay."
Are you going to work?
I'm going to get fired.
Don't get fired for a 73-year-old man. That's just dumb.
Will, pick up the phone and start driving like you did before.
Yeah, look what he said. The iOS is the most boring OS in the world.
I agree. But when people ask me if they want a phone that just works and is a great phone, I say get an Apple phone. It's not for me, but that's true.
Ask somebody on an iPhone why they won't leave. And see what they tell you.
It's so dependable.
No, they're gonna say, "I can't leave my iMessage." Google could have had the same thing.
I have heard people say, "I can't leave my iTunes," too.
Google could have had people say, "I can't leave my Google Assistant." Is all I'm saying.
But I have heard people say, "I can't leave my iTunes." I've literally heard people say that.
That's what I'm saying. Google needs a hook for their phone, and they don't have that anymore. They don't have that with the regular people.
We'll see. Can we stop broadcasting now?
George, they never had it. Yeah, we can go off.
I can't see it, Mike.
Mike, roll the credits.
There we go. There we go.
What? Hold on, I can't see it. What is it?
He's getting his
Apple.
He's getting his Apple juice.
Forget Apple. You could talk about Samsung.
I
LG,
know. I could help.
LG's not going to go give Google their wide-angle camera.
I'm gonna tell you what George Burns used to say to Gracie Allen. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Yeah.
Or what Dan Martin.
Look what he said. Look what he said.
Dan Rowan used to say to Dick Martin. Say goodnight, Dick.
Listen, Apple's ecosystem is why people don't leave. Google's ecosystem you can get everywhere. 100%. So we're talking about Google's ecosystem is everywhere. I have Google's ecosystem on my phone.
Can we say goodnight?
Yeah, Will. It's time to wrap it up.
All right.
Oh, God.
Folks, thanks for watching this. At least, and you see, Mike, I was right. You are the bad influence. He's been ranting since you got on.
Yeah. Hey, look, I also want to. I got my fan. I got the fan cam right there. Okay.
You made us TV stars. That's true.
There we go. There we go.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. Now, remember, next week it's simply
Come back
your
next
device.
week for the debate again.
Mike, it is you next week. Yes.
Well, yeah, we'll be talking. I'll be still on vacation, so I'll see if I can pull this off. Okay, when it gets closer, I'll be in touch with you guys. Okay.
Okay. All right, Mike. This is Mobile Geezer getting ready to sign off. You can find me under Mobile Geezer on Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right.
Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Mike, your turn.
I'm Mike Dixon. This is Simply Your Device. Packing on going on vacation. Look for us next week. Adam and I, my brother, we're going to be streaming throughout various parts of the week. We're definitely doing a Wednesday show with a special guest on Wednesday night. Look out. Hang on. Let me just tell you right now. And I will talk to you all later.
All right. Will, say good night.
Good night. I'm not going to bed. I'm going to be up until 7:30 in the morning.
That's true. He's going to make money for his family. That's a good man, folks.
I'm going to make some money for my Pixel 3.
Good night, folks.
With no special features.